Whispers from ancient trees. Have you ever stood quiet under a really old tree? One that's been there for hundreds of years, watching everything. What do you think it might know? What stories could its branches tell if they could speak? Ancient people felt a deep connection to nature. They truly believed that trees, rivers, mountains, and even the wind held special secrets. They saw them as living teachers, full of wisdom. For them, nature wasn't just scenery. It was alive, with spirit, a sacred presence. This idea that the natural world holds deep truths about life and how we should live is a big part of what we call pagan thinking. It's about seeing something holy in how seasons change, or how a tiny seed grows into a huge, strong tree. It's about feeling the rhythm of the world around you. Think about how people lived thousands of years ago. They didn't have big cities or bright screens. Their lives were totally tied to the sun, the moon, and the land itself. They watched tiny seeds sprout and become tall plants. They saw leaves fall every autumn, only to burst forth fresh and green each spring. They understood that life wasn't a straight line, but a constant cycle. Birth, growth, death, and then new life again. This idea of cycles, of nature's steady beat, taught them so much about change and hope. It was their science, their history, and even their spirituality, all woven together by the earth. Here's an example. It's kind of like how a song repeats a melody. The melody comes back, but it feels a little different each time. Nature does this. Winter always turns to spring. It reminds us that tough times eventually pass, and fresh new growth always comes. So, when we look at an old tree, maybe we're seeing more than just wood and leaves. We're seeing a silent witness to countless changes, a symbol of how things endure, and the promise that new beginnings are always possible. And perhaps, just perhaps, some of those ancient whispers about connection and natural cycles found their way into the beliefs we hold today, even if we don't always realize where they truly began. It's a calm thought to carry, that some of the oldest, deepest wisdom might be right there, waiting for us, in the living world all around us. The sun's old promise. Have you ever really watched the sun? Not just a quick glance, but truly seen it rise, slow and steady, painting the sky with colors. Think about how it brings light after the darkest night, how it warms the earth, making things grow. For thousands of years, long before electric lights or cities, people looked at the sun this way. They saw it as a powerful, never-ending promise. Imagine living in a world without electric lights or central heating. Winter was a scary time. Days grew shorter, the air turned cold, and finding enough food became harder. It must have felt like the light, and maybe life itself, might disappear forever. But then, after the shortest day of the year, a shift would happen. The sun would begin to climb higher in the sky. The days would slowly get longer, and the first hints of warmth would return. This wasn't just a simple observation. It felt like a miracle. It was the sun's powerful promise that light always comes back. Life always finds a way, even after the coldest, darkest stretches. Ancient people built their lives around this idea. They created celebrations to honor the sun's journey, believing their gods were tied to its return, making sure the promise held true. Some built massive stone circles, like Stonehenge, just to track the sun's precise path, showing how important this cycle was to them. Even today, that comfort of light chasing away darkness is still inside us. It's a feeling we all know. Think about when you've been working on a math equation or a confusing paragraph. You have to write, you feel stuck, like there's no way forward. But then, a new idea, a light bulb moment, breaks through. That feeling of clarity, that understanding, after confusion, is a lot like the sun breaking through thick clouds. It's a quiet hope, a reminder that even after the hardest times, or the most confusing moments, light and good things can always return. That's the sun's old promise, still shining inside us, telling us a new beginning is always possible. Moonbeams in our churches. When you look up at the moon at night, what do you feel? Maybe a sense of wonder, or peace, or just the quiet mystery of it all. For thousands of years, long before big church buildings stood, people looked to the moon. They saw its gentle light guide them through darkness. They watched its changing shape, from a thin sliver to a full, bright circle, and knew it meant cycles, like planting and harvesting, birth and life. And here's the thing, even when new ways of thinking about God or the universe came along, some of that ancient feeling, that deep connection to nature's rhythms, didn't just disappear. It's like a quiet moonbeam, subtle and soft, finding its way into unexpected places, even our churches. Think about it. Many ancient peoples built their sacred places, their temples, their stone circles to line up with the sun rising, or the moon at certain times. They felt deeply connected to these cosmic movements. So, when later religions built their own holy places, some of those old designs, those feelings of light and shadow, and the way they marked time, stayed. They were folded in, sometimes without anyone even noticing the ancient roots. It's kind of like how we still say bless you when someone sneezes. That came from a very old belief about evil spirits escaping when you sneeze. Most of us don't think about that old meaning anymore, but the habit, the sound, is still there. In the same way, the feeling of quiet reverence, the way natural light streamed through a stained glass window, or even the calm silence found inside a church, can echo feelings people had under the soft glow of the moon, long, long ago. So, the next time you see a church, or simply look up at the moon, think about how our human search for meaning stretches across so much time. It's a reminder that we're all part of a very old story, connected by shared feelings of wonder and peace, like distant moonbeams touching new ground. Why we love Earth Day. Have you ever felt a deep, quiet comfort just by being outside? Maybe standing under a big, old tree, or watching waves come onto a shore. That feeling, that sense of connection and peace, is a big part of why we love Earth Day. It's more than just a date on the calendar. It's a time to truly remember our home. For a long, long time, people lived much closer to the land. They understood that the earth gave them everything: food, water, shelter, even the air they breathed. They didn't have a special Earth Day, but they lived with a daily appreciation for the planet's cycles and gifts. They saw the earth as a living, breathing being, a generous giver. So Earth Day, which started in 1970, isn't really a brand new idea. It's our modern way of tapping into that ancient, deep respect. It's a moment for everyone, everywhere, to pause and show gratitude for the planet that gives us life. Think about a small, everyday thing, like the air you breathe. You don't usually stop and thank the air, right? But imagine if, for just one day, everyone in the world decided to really focus on that one vital breath, to appreciate the unseen currents that fill our lungs and keep us alive. That's a bit like Earth Day for our entire planet. It's a global moment to remember the massive, beautiful system that holds us all. This day reminds us that taking care of the earth isn't just a duty. It's a way of caring for ourselves, for our communities, and for all future generations. Because, in the deepest sense, we are not just living on Earth, we are of Earth, and loving our planet is really a way of loving a part of ourselves. Christmas trees and old roots. Have you ever wondered why we bring a tree into our homes, especially in the cold, dark days of winter? It's a strange thing, isn't it? We decorate it with lights and shiny things, a green beacon inside, when everything outside is bare and grey. Here's the thing. This tradition, like so many others, has roots that reach back much further than you might think, into very old beliefs and practices. For thousands of years, long before modern religions, as we know them, people around the world celebrated the winter solstice. This was the shortest day and longest night of the year. It was a scary time. Food was scarce. The sun seemed to be leaving them. But then, after the solstice, the days slowly started getting longer again. People saw evergreen trees, firs, spruces as a powerful symbol. These trees stayed green when all other plants withered and died. They were a sign of life, of hope, of the earth's promise to awaken again. So, here's what happened. People would bring these evergreens inside their homes. It wasn't just decoration. It was a way to feel connected to life itself, to invite warmth and the return of the sun. Think of it like this. If you have a favorite worn-out blanket that your grandma made, you might not remember every stitch, or why she chose that pattern. But when you wrap yourself in it, you feel a deep comfort, a connection to her love. The blanket itself holds a kind of memory, even if you just see it as a soft thing now. Our Christmas tree is a bit like that blanket. We might see it as just a holiday decoration, but inside it holds echoes of ancient hopes and fears. It reminds us that even in the darkest times, life endures. It's a gentle whisper from our past, a shared human need for light and continuity, blooming green in the heart of winter, Easter eggs in spring's return. Have you ever wondered why bright, colorful eggs and fluffy bunnies show up at Easter? It feels different from the serious stories we hear, right? Here's the thing. These symbols are much older than you might imagine. They carry quiet whispers from a time long ago, when people felt deeply connected to the changing earth. But for thousands of years, people felt deep wonder when winter ended. Imagine the world cold and grey. Then, slowly, green shoots appear. Animals wake up. The sun feels warm again. This return of life felt like magic, a true miracle. They celebrated this renewal with deep joy, knowing life triumphed over the cold. Eggs, promising new life inside, became a perfect symbol of this fresh start. And rabbits, known for having many babies, also represented new life and the earth's abundance. These ancient ways, these deep feelings about spring's power, didn't disappear. They gently folded into newer traditions. It's like how a favorite old song might get a new remix. The beat and some words change, but the core feeling, the melody, is still there, touching your heart. The joy and hope of spring's return, the deep human need to mark cycles of rebirth, simply found new expression in different stories. Think about a tiny seed, pushed deep into the ground. For a while, it's hidden, quiet. Then, with warmth and rain, it pushes through the soil, a new sprout reaching for the sun. The seed itself is gone, but its life, its energy, lives on in the new plant. That's a bit like how these older symbols kept their meaning, even as they appeared in new ways. So, when you see an Easter egg or a bunny, it's more than just a decoration. It's a quiet echo from the past, a beautiful reminder that the human spirit has always found hope in the return of spring. This deep, shared longing for new beginnings reaches across time and cultures, no matter how the stories evolve. It shows us that beneath our modern lives, the ancient rhythms of the earth still softly hum. Halloween's old ghost stories. Have you ever stopped to wonder why we tell ghost stories around Halloween? It feels like just a fun, spooky tradition, right? But here's the thing. These tales hold whispers from a very old world, much older than candy and costumes. Long ago, before Halloween became the holiday we know, there was a Celtic festival called Samhain, pronounced Su. People celebrated it as the end of summer and the harvest, and the beginning of the darker, colder part of the year. The people back then believed that on this one night, the line between our world and the spirit world became very thin, almost see-through. It was thought that spirits of the dead, both good and bad, could cross over more easily. This wasn't always about being scared. Often, it was a time to remember and honor ancestors, to feel connected to those who had passed on. The stories they shared, those first ghost stories, weren't just for thrills. They were a way to keep memories alive, to feel close to family and friends who were no longer with them. Think about it like this. When you look at an old family photo, you don't just see faces, you feel a connection to a moment, to people who lived lives before you. You might imagine their stories, their joys. Those old ghost stories are a bit like that photo. They're a way for us to touch the past, to feel the long line of people who came before us, and to think about what it means to live and to remember. It's a quiet feeling, like a cold breath on your neck that isn't scary, but just makes you aware of something ancient. So, when you hear a ghost story on Halloween, maybe it's not just about a monster or a fright. Maybe it's about feeling a small part of that ancient belief, that deep human need to connect with history, and to remember that we are all part of a much bigger, much older story. It's a quiet reflection on the journey of life, and the echoes that remain. Maypoles and new beginnings. Think about that feeling of a brand new beginning, that fresh start, full of hope, like turning a crisp, clean page in a new notebook. Long ago, people celebrated these feelings in special ways, one of them involving something called AMAYPOLE. Imagine a tall pole, decorated with bright flowing ribbons, standing tall in a village. People would dance around it, weaving those colorful ribbons around the pole. It's more than just a fun dance or a pretty sight. This maypole is an ancient symbol. It stands for life bursting forth, for the earth waking up after a long, quiet winter. The pole itself reaches high, connecting to the sky, while its roots are deep in the ground. It shows how everything is linked, the sky, the earth, and us, moving together in a cycle. For people long ago, the changing seasons were everything. Spring was a truly huge deal. It meant food would grow again, animals would return, and life would feel vibrant once more. Festivals like May Day, with their maypoles, were special ways to celebrate this powerful rebirth. They thanked nature for new beginnings and hoped for good things to come, like healthy crops. This wasn't just about farming, it was about life itself, and feeling connected to the rhythm of the world. Even today, we still feel this pull towards new starts. Maybe it's not a maypole dance, but it's like starting a new school year, or making a fresh plan after something didn't go well. It's like when a tree loses its leaves in autumn, stands bare through winter, but then, magically, tiny green buds appear in spring, promising new growth. That little bud holds all the possibility of a new beginning. So, the maypole, with its dance and ribbons, gently reminds us that life is always moving, always renewing itself. It whispers a simple truth: there's always a chance for a fresh start, a new growth, a moment to reconnect with the hopeful pulse of the world around us. It's a beautiful idea, this endless cycle of beginning again. Circles, rings, and forever. Have you ever stopped to really look at a circle? Like, truly look at it. It has no edges, no sharp corners, no clear place where it begins or ends. It just keeps going. And that's pretty powerful, isn't it? For a long, long time, people have felt this deep meaning in circles and rings. Think about the sun and the moon. They travel in what seems like endless circles across the sky, bringing day and night, light and dark, over and over again. And the seasons, spring to summer, summer to fall, fall to winter, and then back to spring. It's a never-ending loop, a continuous journey. This idea of things always returning, always flowing, was super important to ancient cultures. They saw life itself as a big circle, not a straight line that just stops. Birth, life, death, and then perhaps new life, like a seed falling from a tree to grow another tree. Here's the thing. Many ancient beliefs didn't imagine an afterlife as a faraway place you went to once and stayed forever. Instead, they imagined cycles, like the ancient symbol of a snake eating its own tail, called the Ouroboros. It shows that life and death are connected, always renewing each other. It's a symbol of forever, of things coming back around. We still see this today. Why do people wear wedding rings? A ring is a circle. It's a promise, a symbol that their love is meant to be endless, without a break. It wraps around your finger, a continuous reminder. Or think about a friendship bracelet. It's often a loop, showing that a bond can go on and on. So when we look at circles, whether it's a ring on our hand or the sun moving across the sky, we're tapping into something very old and very human. It's a quiet understanding that some things don't really end. They just change and continue in a different way, reminding us that life itself is a grand, unbroken circle, always turning, always new. It's a comforting thought, isn't it? That some things are meant to last, in their own way, forever. The power of sacred spaces. Have you ever walked into a place and felt a quiet hum, a stillness different from anywhere else? Maybe it was a huge old library, or a forest path where the trees seemed to whisper, or even just your own room when everything felt perfectly calm. That feeling, it's a glimpse of what people call a sacred space. Sacred spaces aren't just fancy buildings like churches or temples. They're any place where people have felt a deep connection, a sense of wonder, or a profound peace. For thousands of years, long before cities and modern religions, humans instinctively looked for these spots. They found them in nature, a towering ancient tree, a deep, echoing cave, a mountain peak that seemed to touch the sky. These weren't just places made of dirt and rock. They felt alive with a spirit, a presence that made people pause and listen. So, here's the thing. Ancient people didn't build temples because a rulebook told them to. They built them because their hearts recognized something special in certain spots. They felt a powerful connection to something larger than themselves. In these places, they left offerings, they prayed, they gathered, not out of duty, but because these spots drew them in. It was a natural human impulse to set aside a place and say, "This feels different. This is important." Think about your favorite spot to read a book, or that specific corner of your room where you feel completely safe and yourself. It's not just the physical stuff in that space, it's the feeling that makes it special. Or imagine a school auditorium before a big performance, or a sports field just before a huge game. The air practically buzzes with energy, right? Even though it's just a building or a patch of grass, the shared emotion, the focused intention of everyone there makes it feel powerful. That feeling isn't magic, it's a real part of how we humans connect with places and make them meaningful. This urge to find and create sacred spaces still lives in us today. It's a quiet whisper from our past, a deep need to connect with something beyond the everyday. It reminds us that, even in our busy world, we still seek out places that feel special, places where we can pause, reflect, and feel a calm sense of belonging. It's about finding that stillness, that moment where you just are, in a place that feels truly right. Water's ancient cleansing. Have you ever felt a simple splash of water or a calm rain shower make you feel better? It's more than just getting clean, isn't it? There's a quiet renewal, like water washes away worries. This ancient idea of water cleansing more than what you see is a powerful, old human belief. For thousands of years, people deeply connected with water. Ancient cultures, often called pagan, saw it as sacred. They used it in rituals to purify spirits, wash away sorrows, or invite fresh starts. Many traditions, even today, use water for blessings or welcoming new life. Dipping into a river or using dew for healing, the belief was similar. Water could cleanse more than the body. This quiet wisdom has passed down for ages, often unseen. Here's an example. Imagine a tough school day, feeling anxious or overwhelmed. When you get home, a warm shower, or simply washing your hands slowly, what happens? It's not just the soap. You feel a weight lift. It's like bad feelings and stress go down the drain with the water. It's a gentle, personal reset. Water doesn't fix the problem, but it helps clear your mind, making space for calmer thoughts. So, maybe the comforting feeling from water isn't just physical. Perhaps it's an echo of something ancient, a human memory tucked inside us. It's a quiet understanding. Water is renewal, a gentle force helping us let go and find peace. It reminds us that simple things hold ancient power, offering solace and hope for a fresh start, as they have for ages. Fire's warm, old glow. Have you ever found yourself just staring into a flickering flame, maybe from a candle or a campfire? There's something ancient and calming about it, isn't there? It pulls you in. For thousands of years, long before electric lights and furnaces, fire was everything. It wasn't just about warmth or cooking, it was life. Our ancestors gathered around fires for safety in the dark, to cook their food, and to tell stories. The fire was a protector, a giver of life, and even seen as a living spirit itself. Many early beliefs saw fire as sacred, a bridge between the human world and the mysterious world of the gods or spirits. Think about how many old myths and stories feature fire as a gift from the heavens, or as a symbol of creation and destruction. People felt a deep, almost magical connection to it. They understood its power, its beauty, and its terrible danger all at once. It was a constant companion through long, cold nights, a source of light when the world was otherwise dark. Here's the thing: that deep old feeling about fire still lives inside us. Imagine sitting around a campfire on a cool night with friends. The crackling sounds, the warmth on your face, the way the light dances and shadows play. Doesn't it make you feel safe, connected, like you could sit there for hours, just watching the flames? That's not just the heat. It's an echo of those ancient connections, a memory, perhaps, of how our very human story began around the glow of a fire. So, the next time you see a flame, whether it's a birthday candle or a fireplace, remember that soft, old glow. It carries with it a whisper from our very distant past, a reminder of how deeply connected we are to the basic elements of the world, and how those connections still offer us comfort and a sense of belonging today. Air, breath, and spirit. Have you ever really stopped to think about a single breath? It's just air, right? We do it without even thinking, thousands of times a day. But here's the thing: for thousands of years, people felt this simple act of breathing was truly sacred, a quiet miracle. Think about it. When someone is born, their first breath is a sign of life beginning. When someone dies, their last breath marks the end. This connection between breath and life was so strong that many ancient languages used the same word for air, breath, and spirit. For example, in Old Latin, spiritus meant breath, and it's where our word spirit comes from. In ancient Greek, pneuma meant wind or breath, and also soul. It was like people understood that the invisible air we breathe carried something essential, something vital, something that made us alive. You know how when you're really calm, your breathing is slow and steady, and when you're super nervous or running fast, it speeds up. Your breath changes with how you feel, with what's going on inside you. It's like an invisible mirror reflecting your inner world. Just like we can't see the wind, but we see its effects and feel it. We can't see our spirit, but we feel its presence through the very breath that keeps us living. It's that unseen force, that living energy. So, when you take your next breath, pause for a moment, feel the air fill your lungs. This isn't just oxygen, it's a whisper from ancient times, reminding us that life itself is tied to this powerful, invisible flow. It's a simple, everyday act, yet it holds a deep, silent connection to something profound and truly alive within each of us. Every breath is a small, quiet, powerful gift. Earth, ground, and home. Have you ever walked outside and just felt the earth beneath your feet? Not just dirt or concrete, but like the ground itself was holding you, connecting you to something vast and old. For thousands of years, long before big churches or holy books, people felt this deep connection to the earth. It wasn't just a place to build a house. The ground was seen as a living, breathing being, a mother, a spirit, a sacred home. Think about it. Where does everything come from? Our food, air, water. It all comes from this planet. Ancient people knew this in their bones. They didn't just understand it, they felt it. They built their lives around the seasons, planting and harvesting, the cycles of the moon and sun. Their homes weren't just buildings, they were part of the landscape. Their religions often centered on honoring the earth, thanking it for its gifts, trying to live in balance. They saw gods and spirits in trees, rivers, and mountains. The idea was that our home isn't just a house, but the whole world around us. Here's a simple way to think about it. Say you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed. Sometimes, just stepping outside, feeling the sun, or sitting under a big tree can make you feel calmer, right? It's like the earth itself is giving you a hug. That feeling of being grounded, of knowing where you belong, that's a very old, human need. It's like our own bodies are connected to Earth's gravity, pulling us down, keeping us steady. Even in modern religions, many traditions still talk about being rooted or planted, and they bless the harvest. They might not call the earth a goddess, but the respect for creation, for the source of life, it's still there. So when we talk about home, it's more than just a building. It's the planet that gives us everything. And maybe, just maybe, part of our own peace comes from remembering that deep, ancient bond with the ground beneath our feet. It's a quiet strength, always there, holding us. Singing our oldest songs. Have you ever sung a song, maybe in a group, and felt a strange, deep pull? It's like your voice remembers something ancient, even if the song is new. Here's the thing, humans have always sung. For thousands of years, long before grand churches or holy books, people used their voices to connect. Imagine our first ancestors, gathered around a crackling fire under a dark sky. They didn't have fancy instruments or written prayers, but they hummed, they chanted, they made sounds together. This wasn't just for fun, this was how they spoke to the unseen world. They asked for good harvests, mourned their lost ones, celebrated new life. Their joined voices created a powerful feeling of safety and belonging. It was their earliest shared belief, a kind of magic, woven from sound and shared breath. Think about a time you sang with a crowd, maybe at a school assembly, a concert, or just yelling lyrics in the car with friends. You feel a connection, right? A sense of being part of something much bigger. That feeling, that shared energy that hums when voices combine, is a very old, human experience. It's like a deep, ancient echo inside us, connecting us to those first chants. So, when we sing today, whether it's a hymn, a pop anthem, or just a quiet melody, we're tapping into this ancient habit. Our voices carry echoes of those earliest sounds. They remind us that before different religions or countries, we had the shared voice. It's a quiet truth, a soft whisper from the past, reminding us that at our core, we are all part of the same human song, sung across time. Drum beats in our hearts. Have you ever felt a steady beat inside you? Not just your pulse, but something deeper, older. It's like our hearts remember ancient drum beats, the kind that moved people long, long ago. Before big cities and bright screens, humans lived very close to the earth. They heard the wind, felt the rain, and saw the sun rise and fall every single day. Their lives were tuned to these natural rhythms. And what did they use to celebrate, to mourn, to gather? Drums. The drum wasn't just an instrument, it was the heartbeat of the community. It connected everyone, making them feel like one body moving together. Think about how a powerful song can make you feel like dancing, even if you don't know why. That's a bit like it. It's a shared energy that goes beyond words. When you hear a strong, steady drumbeat, maybe in a school band or a parade, doesn't it feel like it pulls you in? Your feet might start tapping, or you might feel a strange sense of belonging, a shared energy with everyone around you. Or think about a group of friends walking together, and their steps slowly start to match up without anyone trying. It's a natural thing, almost like our bodies want to find that rhythm with others. This isn't just about music. It's about a deep, human need for connection, for unity, for belonging to something bigger. So, here's the thing. Maybe those old drum beats, those ancient ways of connecting with the world and each other, still echo in our modern lives. They are not always loud, but they whisper in the quiet parts of our hearts. They remind us that we are part of a very old story, connected to everything and to everyone, in ways we might not always see. It's a quiet truth, a gentle hum that reminds us we're never truly alone. Stories of heroes and gods. Have you ever stopped to think about the stories that really stick with us? The ones about brave heroes or powerful gods. It's interesting how many of these tales, from a long, long time ago, feel a lot like the ones we hear today, even in modern religions. Ancient people didn't have science books, so they told stories to understand their world. They imagined gods for the sun, the wind, or love itself. They created heroes who fought monsters or went on incredible journeys. These weren't just fun tales. They were deep ways to explain why things happened, why people struggled, or what it meant to be brave. Think about a common story pattern. A hero leaves home, faces a big challenge, and then comes back stronger, having learned something huge. You see this in many old myths, like Hercules from ancient Greece. But here's the thing, you also see this pattern in your own life. It's like when you try a new sport or learn a tough subject. You struggle, maybe you feel like giving up, but then you push through. You come out changed and more capable. That journey, that change, is a very old idea. Many modern religious stories carry echoes of these hero tales. They often show someone facing trials, going through struggle, and then emerging with new wisdom. It's like our hearts have always needed tales of overcoming darkness, of finding courage when things are scary. So, when we listen to these ancient tales of gods and heroes, or the holy stories told today, we're not just hearing old news. We're connecting with something much bigger. We're touching the human need to understand our place, to find meaning in struggle, and to believe in a better self. It's a shared human heartbeat, running through all of time. The mother's gentle hand. Have you ever felt a quiet comfort in the world, like a soft, warm blanket wrapped around you, even when no one is physically there? It's a feeling of deep peace, a sense that everything is okay, and you are somehow held. This feeling, this gentle, giving power, is what many ancient cultures understood as the mother principle. Long, long ago, people often saw the earth itself as a great mother. She wasn't just dirt and rocks, but a living, breathing being who gave them life, food, and shelter. Think about it. The sun helps things grow, the rain feeds the plants, and the soil provides the strength. This idea of a nurturing, life-giving Earth Mother was central to many old ways of thinking. It was about growing, healing, and belonging, not about strict rules or grand power. It was about the gentle, steady beat of nature's heart. Even in many religions today that mostly talk about a strong, powerful God, you can still find whispers of this mother's gentle hand. Think of figures like Mary in Christianity, who represents pure, unconditional love and care. Or consider how many people feel peace and healing when they spend time in nature. The earth continues to provide endlessly, without asking for anything in return, much like a mother always making sure her child has what they need. Imagine a quiet forest after a long rain. Everything feels fresh and new. The trees offer shade, the ground holds water, and tiny plants push through. It's all a quiet giving, a soft promise of life. This ancient idea, this feeling of gentle, patient care from the world, isn't lost. It reminds us that there is a deep, loving presence woven into the very fabric of existence. It helps us feel safe, cherished, and connected to something truly caring. It's a quiet whisper that there's always a place of soft warmth and acceptance, a kind hand guiding us, even when life feels confusing. Father Sky's strong gaze. Have you ever looked up at the vast, clear sky and felt a quiet presence, like something immense was watching over everything? This feeling connects us to a really old idea, Father Sky. For thousands of years, people imagined a powerful, wise spirit or God living in the heavens. They saw the sun bringing warmth, the stars creating wonder, and storms showing immense power. This sky figure was seen as the protector, the one who brought light, kept order, and watched over all of life. Think of the sky itself as a giant, loving parent, always seeing. Many ancient cultures, long before modern religions, felt this deep connection. They gave this sky father different names, but the core idea was the same. A strong, all-seeing figure high above us all. Even in modern religions, God is often pictured as an all-knowing presence in the heavens, looking down, aware of everything. It's that shared human sense of ultimate authority, a watchful eye, a source of truth. Here's an everyday way to think about it. Imagine you're out exploring a big park. Even if your parents aren't right next to you, you might still feel their guiding presence, like they're watching out for you. Or consider how the sun always rises each day. It gives life, but its light also reveals everything. It's a constant, strong presence, overseeing our world without fail. Scientists, too, look to the vastness of space to understand our origins and the universe's rules. They're seeking the wisdom of that great sky. So, Father Sky's strong gaze isn't just about a god from the past. It's about the feeling that there's a big unseen force bringing order to our world and watching over us. It's about feeling accountable and knowing we're part of something far bigger. It reminds us that our lives are connected to a larger story, with a silent witness to our journeys. This thought can bring a calm sense of belonging, a quiet understanding that we are never truly alone under that endless sky. Animals as sacred guides. Have you ever wondered why old stories and myths are so full of animals? They often appear not just as creatures, but as helpers, or even wise guides. Think of a talking fox leading a hero, or a wise owl offering advice. Here's the thing. For many ancient people, especially those with pagan beliefs, animals were deeply sacred. They were thought to hold special wisdom, or even carry messages from the spirit world. People watched animals very closely. They saw how a bear would sleep all winter and then emerge, full of new life, showing strength and renewal. They observed how a wolf moved with its pack, teaching about loyalty and family bonds. These observations weren't just about survival. They were about learning deep lessons for human life. To them, an eagle soaring high wasn't just a bird. It was a living symbol of freedom, or seeing things from a higher perspective. Think about how we still say someone is brave as a lion or wise as an owl. This isn't just a random saying. It comes from a very old idea that animals actually embody certain qualities. They don't just have courage, they are courage in action. They don't just know things. They are living wisdom expressed in nature. So, in many old beliefs, animals were like living teachers, showing us how to be, how to act, and how to understand the world. This idea isn't entirely gone from our world today. Many of us still feel a special connection to animals. Maybe it's your own pet dog, showing you about unconditional love and living in the moment. Or maybe it's just seeing a tiny bird diligently building its nest, which can remind you about patience and dedication. Animals, in their quiet ways, still connect us to the wildness and the ancient rhythms of the earth. They can help us remember that we are part of something much bigger, a living, breathing world full of quiet lessons, if we simply take the time to notice and listen with our hearts. Birds of freedom, old wisdom. Have you ever just stopped and watched a bird soar high above? Maybe an eagle, or a robin hopping in the grass. There's a feeling that comes with it, isn't there? A sense of freedom, of peace, like they know something special. For thousands of years, long before big cities, people felt this connection. They weren't just watching birds for fun. They were looking for wisdom. Imagine early humans, living very close to the land. They saw birds as messengers, signs from the vast sky and the unseen world. A hawk circling might mean something different than a flock of sparrows. These flying creatures represented a bridge between earth and the heavens, carrying secrets in their flight patterns and songs. Many ancient cultures, across different lands, shared this quiet belief. They found guidance in nature, in flapping wings. In the changing seasons, birds announced. Think about it. When you're outside on a quiet afternoon, and you hear a bird singing, or see a group flying in a perfect V-shape, for a moment, you might feel calmer, more connected to everything. It's like how a scientist observes an animal to understand its behavior and ecosystem. We might not think birds send direct messages, but watching them still grounds us. It reminds us we're part of something bigger, a living, breathing world. And here's the thing, that old wisdom, that quiet respect for nature, hasn't completely disappeared. It's still there, tucked away in our feelings when we see a bird take flight. It reminds us that freedom isn't just about doing what we want. It's also about feeling at peace with the world, understanding our place, and finding beauty in simple, natural things. The lessons of those ancient birds of freedom still whisper to us, if we just listen. The snake's secret meaning. Have you ever really thought about snakes? Not just as something slithery or scary, maybe even a little creepy, but as an ancient symbol, a deep whisper from the past. Here's the thing, for thousands and thousands of years, long before some stories painted them as villains, snakes held a powerful, secret meaning. They weren't seen as evil at all. Instead, they stood for something amazing, something truly fundamental to life. The endless cycle of change, of growing, of becoming new. Think about how a snake sheds its skin. It doesn't die. It simply lets go of the old, tight layer that no longer fits. It pushes forward, revealing fresh, vibrant scales underneath. This natural act, so simple yet so profound, taught ancient people about renewal, about healing, and about gaining wisdom. Many old cultures, stretching from ancient Egypt to the wise shamans of tribal lands, saw the snake as a guardian, a source of deep, earthy knowledge. It was a sign of transformation, of bravely letting go of what once was, to embrace what can be. It was a symbol of life force itself, constantly renewing, always shifting and flowing. And here's how this ancient idea can still be seen in our world today, hiding in plain sight. Look at the symbol often used for medicine, a staff with a snake wrapped around it. That's not there because snakes are meant to be feared. That symbol, often called the rod of Asclepius, comes from very old Greek stories about healing and rebirth. It shows how the snake's power to shed its skin became a powerful sign of recovering from illness, of renewal, and finding health again. It's about getting better, about changing from sickness back to strength. So, the next time you see a snake, or even just a picture of one, maybe pause for a moment. Think beyond just the fear or discomfort. Think about the quiet strength of changing, of growing through tough times, of the deep old wisdom that life is always moving, always becoming something new. It's a gentle reminder that even things that seem a bit dark or misunderstood can hold ancient light, teaching us profound lessons about life's beautiful cycles and the quiet power we carry within ourselves to transform. Doves carrying peace. Have you ever wondered why a soft, white dove often stands for peace? It's a symbol we see everywhere, from paintings to ceremonies. But why this bird, specifically? Think about how they move, quietly, gently, with a calm flutter of wings. There's something about a dove that just feels gentle, isn't there? For thousands of years, long before many of the religions we know today, people looked to nature for meaning. They saw the world around them as full of signs and wisdom. And animals, like doves, weren't just creatures, they were messengers. They were thought to carry feelings, or even spirits, from other places. Imagine early humans, living close to the earth, watching a dove fly. Its quiet presence, its gentle cooing, must have felt like a whisper of calm in a world that could be very loud and uncertain. Many ancient cultures, the ones we sometimes call pagan, because they worshipped nature, or many gods, saw doves as sacred. They were linked to goddesses of love, beauty, and even war, but always carrying a sense of something pure or otherworldly. They were seen as bringing messages of balance and tranquility. This idea that a gentle creature from the natural world could bring peace is a very old way of thinking. It's part of how we've always tried to understand our place in the world and find comfort. Here's the thing, that deep ancient feeling is still with us. Think about when you're feeling stressed, maybe before a big test or presentation. What helps you feel a little calmer? Often, it's something soothing, like a quiet song, a deep breath, or even just seeing something gentle. The dove, in a way, is like that. It's a visual reminder. It's like a quiet friend who, without saying a word, helps you feel a little more at ease, reminding you to breathe and find your center. So, when we see a dove, it's not just a bird. It's a reminder of a very old, very human wish for peace. It's about that quiet, hopeful part of us that believes in calm, in things settling, and in finding gentleness. This feeling, this ancient hope for tranquility, is carried forward. much like the soft flight of a dove across time. It reminds us that our deepest needs haven't changed much at all. Lambs of innocence, old tales. Have you ever looked at a little lamb, soft and new, and felt something gentle inside? For thousands of years, people have seen lambs as special. They are living symbols of innocence, a fresh start. This feeling isn't new, it's an old echo, a whisper from times long ago. Before the religions we know, people lived close to the land. They watched seasons change. Lambs born in spring, after cold winter, were a sign of hope. It meant new life, a promise that sad times would pass and warmth would return. So, the lamb became a powerful symbol for purity, for sacrifice, for new beginnings. And here's the thing, these ideas didn't just disappear when new faiths began. They were woven into new stories and beliefs, sometimes without us even noticing. Think about a common feeling, like hope. When you're waiting for something good, maybe test results, that feeling is universal. It doesn't matter your language, it's simply human. The idea of a lamb representing new life or innocence is like that universal feeling. It's part of our shared human story. Imagine an old pebble on a beach. It's been shaped by time, but its core story remains, even as new sands settle around it. So when we see ancient symbols like the lamb in modern traditions, it reminds us of something deep. It tells us that some feelings, some truths, are too big to truly fade. They simply find new ways to be heard. They connect us to everyone who came before, reminding us we are all part of one very long, ongoing human tale. Fish symbols in deep waters. Have you ever stopped to really look at a simple fish? We often think of them just as food, or as creatures swimming in a tank. But for thousands of years, long before many of the religions we know today took shape, the fish held a much deeper, more mysterious meaning for people. It wasn't just an animal. It was a powerful, silent symbol. Think about water itself. It flows, always moving, always changing, yet holds so much life and so many secrets. Ancient people, often called pagans, saw fish as silent keepers of wisdom. From these deep, unseen waters, they connected fish to goddesses of fertility, to the mystery of life's beginnings, and to secrets hidden below the surface of the world. A fish could represent rebirth, a fresh start, or the very flow of time itself, always moving forward. It was a creature of another world, one we couldn't easily explore or understand. So, when they used a fish symbol, they weren't just drawing an animal. They were drawing a prayer, a hope, a connection to something sacred and eternal, like a whisper from ancient depths. Even today, these ancient ideas echo around us. It's a bit like when you have a strong gut feeling about something, a deep intuition that just tells you something is true, even if you can't quite explain why. That feeling is like a fish swimming in the deep, quiet waters of your own mind. It's a hidden wisdom that guides you without words, from a place beyond everyday thoughts. These old symbols, like the fish, remind us that there's always more beneath the surface than we first see. They whisper tales from a time when the world felt alive with hidden magic, and every living thing, even a simple fish, held a piece of the divine. They gently invite us to look closer, to feel deeper, and to find meaning in the quiet currents that shape our lives. Harvest feasts, ancient thanks. Have you ever stopped to think why we gather for big meals, especially when seasons change? Like at Thanksgiving, for instance. It feels good to share food, right? But what if I told you this feeling, this tradition, stretches back thousands of years, far beyond any modern holiday? Here's the thing. Before cities and supermarkets, people lived very close to the land. Their lives depended entirely on what grew from the soil. The sun, the rain, the earth. These were everything. If the crops failed, if the harvest was poor, people didn't just go hungry. They might not survive the winter. So, when the fields were finally full, bursting with grain and vegetables, it wasn't just a good day. It was a miracle, a huge sigh of relief. Our ancestors, often called pagans, held massive celebrations. These weren't just parties. They were deep acts of gratitude. They gave thanks to the earth, to the sun, to the forces they believed brought life. They shared the bounty, sang songs, and felt a deep connection to the natural cycle that fed them. These were harvest festivals, and they were essential. Think about how you feel after you've worked really hard on something, maybe a big art project, or studying for a tough test, and then you do well. There's this wonderful feeling of accomplishment and relief, right? You might want to celebrate that success. Our ancestors felt that, but about their very survival. They celebrated the Earth's success in feeding them. So, when we share meals today, especially during times of plenty, we're doing something incredibly old. We are echoing those ancient thanks. We're remembering, even without knowing it, that deep human need to be grateful for what sustains us. It's a quiet, beautiful connection to the earth and to everyone who has ever lived and eaten from its gifts. It reminds us that being thankful is just part of who we are. Seeds of hope, buried deep. Have you ever thought about how old ideas travel through time? Do they just vanish, like smoke, or do they change and find new places to live? Here's the thing, many deep ideas, from long, long ago, are still with us. They're like tiny, tough seeds, hidden deep inside the big, modern things we see every day, especially in our religions. Think about how stories change over time. A tale your grandparents told might not be exactly the same when you tell it to a friend, but the main feeling, the important lesson, usually stays. The same thing happened with old ways of thinking, like the ideas from ancient pagan times. When newer religions came along, they didn't always just erase everything that came before. Instead, they often took older customs, beliefs, and even special days and wove them into new practices. The old ideas became part of the new, sometimes with different names, but with the same powerful spirit underneath. It's like a small, strong seed that falls into the ground. Years later, a huge, beautiful tree grows in that very spot. Most people who look at the tree just see the trunk, the branches, the leaves. They don't often think about that tiny seed, buried deep down, that started it all. But here's what happened. Everything about that amazing tree, its strength, its bright leaves, its good fruit comes from that first, original seed. The life and power of the seed are still there, transformed and grown, but totally present, and that's why it matters. Those ancient pagan principles are like those seeds. We might not call them pagan anymore. They might have different names or be part of different rituals in today's faiths, but their deep connection to nature, to the turning cycles of the seasons, to the simple wonder of life itself, that basic truth is still there. It's growing, changing, and helping us understand the world and ourselves in ways we might not even notice. It's a quiet strength, a hidden wisdom, always within reach, waiting for us to feel its calm presence. The magic of a new year. Have you ever wondered why the idea of a new year feels so powerful? It's more than just a date on a calendar, isn't it? There's this strange, quiet energy that fills the air. It's a feeling of starting fresh, a chance to hit a reset button on everything, like a clean slate, a brand new chapter waiting to be written. Here's the thing, this feeling isn't new. For thousands of years, long before our modern calendars, people around the world felt this same sense of renewal. Ancient cultures often marked new beginnings with the turning of seasons, like the winter solstice, when the darkest part of the year finally gave way to longer days, or the spring equinox, when life burst forth. They saw the world around them die back and then bloom again. They understood that an ending isn't really an end, but just the quiet pause before a new beginning. It was a time for reflection, for letting go of what no longer served them, and for setting intentions for what they hoped to grow. Think about it like this. You might have a notebook for school. At some point, you fill it up, right? Every page is covered with notes and thoughts. But then, you get a brand new one. That first blank page feels different. It's full of possibility. You can start fresh, maybe even write neater, or try new ways of organizing your ideas. That's a little like what a new year feels like for us, and what these ancient moments felt like for people long ago. It's a natural human need to believe in new chances, to look forward with hope. This quiet magic of renewal, of looking ahead, it's something truly woven into the human spirit, passed down through time. Light returning to the dark. Have you ever noticed how, after the longest night of winter, the days slowly, almost secretly, start to grow longer again? It's a gentle shift, a quiet promise whispered across the sky. This idea of light always finding its way back, even after the deepest darkness, isn't just about the sun. It's a very old, deep thought that humans have held onto for thousands of years. Think about it. Before electricity, people lived very close to nature's rhythms. They watched the sun rise and set. The winter solstice, the shortest day, was a huge deal. It was the peak of darkness, but it was also the turning point. From that day on, light would return, bit by bit. This wasn't just a science fact, it was a powerful story about hope. They celebrated, often with fires and feasts, believing they could help the light return. Many modern winter holidays echo this ancient feeling, the idea of light and hope born when it feels most dark. It's like when you're studying for a really tough test, and it feels like you'll never understand it. Your brain feels dark, with confusion, but you keep trying, you ask questions, and then, suddenly, a concept clicks. A light bulb goes off. That moment of understanding, where the darkness of not knowing lifts, feels amazing, right? Or maybe you've had a difficult day, everything feels heavy, and then a friend sends you a funny meme, or a pet cuddles up. A small moment, but it chases some darkness away, letting a little light back in. So, light returning to the dark is more than just a phrase. It's a fundamental truth, woven into nature and our own lives. It reminds us that even when things feel overwhelming or lost, there's always a turning point waiting. A subtle shift, a quiet beginning of new growth, new understanding. It's a comforting whisper from ancient times, telling us that hope is a cycle, just like the seasons. And that's a beautiful thought to hold on to. Shadows holding secrets. Have you ever wondered about the quiet whispers of the past? It's like some very old ideas, ways of thinking about the world, never truly disappeared. They just went into hiding, tucked away in the shadows of new beliefs. Our world changes fast, but some things feel ancient, don't they? Like certain traditions or feelings about nature, centuries and centuries ago. Before big organized religions, people lived really close to the earth. They watched the sun rise and set, saw the moon change, and felt the seasons shift. These weren't just facts. They were sacred, powerful forces. Their stories about life and nature were deeply woven into everything they did. When new religions came, they didn't just erase these older ways. Instead, bits and pieces of these ancient beliefs, often blended in, like small streams joining a bigger river. The water mixes, and you can't always tell where one stream ends, but the original water is still there, flowing along. Here's a way to think about it. Imagine your favorite old park. It might have new playground equipment or fresh paths, but if you look closely, you might notice something truly old. Maybe a giant ancient tree with roots twisting above the ground, or a strange moss-covered stone wall from another time. These older elements are still part of the park, holding on to its past. Even if most people don't notice them, they are the shadows holding secrets, quietly telling tales of what came before. So, when we talk about these shadows, we're simply wondering about the deep, hidden roots of our shared human story. It's not about judging anything, or saying one thing is better. It's about seeing how beliefs and ideas grow and change over time. Like an ancient tree spreading its roots far and wide, even under new ground. Our human journey is incredibly long, filled with echoes from the past that still resonate today. It gives you a deeper sense of connection to everything, a quiet, reflective way of seeing the world. Gifts from the ground up. Have you ever stopped to really feel the earth beneath your feet? Not just the sidewalk, but the soil, the roots, the deep, quiet energy of the world itself. For a long, long time, people lived much closer to the ground than we do now. Their lives depended on what the earth gave them, the food they ate, the water they drank, the shelter they built. Every sunrise was a promise, every harvest a miracle. This deep connection shaped everything they believed. Think about it. If your survival depended on the sun returning, on the rain falling, on seeds sprouting into food, you'd naturally feel a profound respect, even a sacred awe for these forces. Ancient people watched the seasons, the cycles of growth and decay, the patterns of the moon and stars. They saw life emerge from the soil, blossom, die, and then return. This wasn't just farming. It was a spiritual lesson, a powerful truth, whispered by the wind and trees. So, many early traditions, and even parts of modern religion, hold echoes of this ancient wisdom. It's like when you plant a small seed in a pot. You water it, give it sunlight, watch it grow. That tiny seed, given what it needs from the earth, becomes something amazing. Our beliefs are a bit like that seed. They started small, rooted in the basic needs and observations of life on this planet. They grew, changed, adapted to new ideas and places, but the core idea of connection to something bigger, something that provides, remained. This isn't about choosing one belief over another. It's about understanding the deep currents that run beneath all of us. No matter how much the world changes, We are still creatures of this earth. We are still nourished by its gifts. And perhaps, in our quietest moments, we still feel that ancient pull, that sense of wonder, connecting us to the very ground we walk upon. It's a quiet knowing, a deep hum that reminds us we belong here, part of something timeless and vast. Why we light candles? Have you ever wondered why, in so many quiet moments or special events, we choose to light a candle? It's a simple act, really, just a tiny flame, dancing in the air. But what does it truly mean? For a very long time, people have used light to mark special feelings or ideas. Think about it. When the world was dark before electricity, a flame was a beacon. It offered warmth, chased away the scary shadows, and helped people see clearly. So, lighting a candle became more than just a way to light up a room. It became a way to light up something inside us. In many old traditions, and even in modern religions, a candle flame can stand for a lot of things. It can be a prayer lifted up, a memory held close, or a hope shining bright. It's like a tiny, burning whisper. That small glow helps us focus our thoughts, pulling us away from the noise of the world. It's a moment to pause. Imagine you're trying to solve a really tricky math problem. Sometimes, you need to clear your desk, quiet the room, and just focus on that one thing. Lighting a candle can be a bit like that for your mind and spirit. It creates a small, warm circle of calm. Your eyes naturally go to the steady light, and it helps your thoughts gather in one place, like iron filings around a magnet dot. So, when we see that gentle flame, we're not just seeing fire. We're often seeing a symbol of life itself, or a spark of truth, or a way to remember those who came before us. It reminds us that even a small light can push back a lot of darkness. It's a quiet way to connect with ancient feelings, and to find a bit of stillness in our busy lives. The comfort of holy water. Have you ever felt a sudden calm just by being near water? Maybe watching rainfall, or standing by a quiet lake. There's something special about water, isn't there? And here's the thing. Many religions use what they call holy water. It's just water, really, but it's blessed or treated in a special way. People use it for cleaning, for blessing, or sometimes just to feel safer. But where does this idea come from? People long ago, before big churches, lived much closer to nature. They saw how rivers washed things away, how rain made things grow, and how springs gave life. They felt water had power. So, they started using water in their rituals to clean away bad feelings, to ask for good things, or to simply feel protected. This wasn't tied to one specific religion. It was a human way of connecting with something pure. This old idea carried forward. Many cultures used water in rituals to mark new beginnings or get rid of worries. It's like when you've had a really tough day, and then you take a warm shower. The water doesn't wash away your problems, but it can make you feel lighter, a bit refreshed. It's like the water helps wash away the feeling of stress or tiredness, making you ready to start fresh. That feeling of newness, of a clean slate, is powerful. So, when someone dips their fingers in holy water, or sprinkles it, it's not just about the water itself. It's about what the water means to them. It's a symbol. It represents hope, a fresh start, or protection from things that worry them. It's a quiet moment, a small act that reminds them they can let go of fears or mistakes. It's a feeling of comfort, a shared human experience that connects us to ancient wisdom, the simple, profound power of water to renew and calm our spirits. Pilgrimages to special places. Have you ever felt a deep sense of peace or wonder just by being in a certain spot? A place where the air itself seems to hold something special, something ancient. For thousands of years, people have felt this same pull towards special places. We call these pilgrimages. It's not just about visiting a landmark. It's a trip with purpose, a journey that changes something inside you, connecting you to something bigger. Think, long ago, our ancestors walked for weeks to mountains, sacred springs, or groves of trees. They weren't just tourists. They believed these spots held unique energy, a link to spirits, to gods, to the earth's pulse. It was their way of seeking wisdom, healing, or feeling close to something divine. It's like when you visit a grandparent's old house, even if it's empty now, or maybe a favorite quiet spot in the woods, a hidden bench by a river. The air feels different there, right? You might remember things, or feel a calm you don't feel anywhere else. It's not just the building or the trees. It's the stories, feelings, the history settled there, making it special. Many modern religions still practice pilgrimages to holy cities, churches, or shrines. But the root of these journeys, that ancient whisper, telling us to seek out special places, began long before any religions existed. It's a human thing, born from a deep, ancient understanding that certain spots hold something sacred, a feeling shared by our earliest ancestors. So, maybe these journeys aren't just about faith or following rules. Maybe they are about listening to that ancient part of ourselves that craves connection, that seeks out quiet power. Maybe they are about finding a little piece of ourselves, or something bigger, in the very ground beneath our feet, a truth waiting, in a special place, a deep echo of what our ancestors always knew. Blessings for our food. Have you ever stopped for a moment to really think about your food before you eat it? We often just grab a snack or sit down for dinner without a second thought, right? But many people, for a very long time, have done something different. They've blessed their food. What does that even mean? It's not about magic words or something super complicated. It's mostly about taking a quiet moment to say thank you. It's a pause to remember where the food came from. Think about the sunshine that helped the plants grow, the rain that watered the fields, and the rich earth that gave nutrients to everything. Long, long ago, before big supermarkets and fast food, people lived much closer to nature. They knew exactly how much effort went into growing or finding every bite of food. They felt a deep connection to the land, the animals, the sky, everything that helped make their meal possible. They honored these things, seeing them as gifts. This idea isn't just found in old pagan ways, or even just in modern religions. It's a human way of showing respect for life itself. Here's the thing. Think about a simple apple you might eat. It grew from a tiny seed, needing sunshine for energy and water to drink. Good soil made it strong. Then someone carefully picked it, packed it, and brought it to the store for you. When you pause to bless your food, you're not just saying a prayer, you're remembering all those parts of the story. You're thinking about the sun, the rain, the earth, and the people who worked to bring it to your table. It makes eating more than just fueling your body. It makes it a connection to the earth, to the farmers, and to the whole web of life that supports us. It's a quiet moment to remember that everything we have is a gift. Remembering the ancestors, have you ever stopped to think about the people who walked this earth before you? Not just your grandparents, but all the way back, through countless generations. Here's the thing. In many ancient ways of thinking, remembering our ancestors wasn't just about old photos or family trees. It was a deep, meaningful practice. Long ago, in cultures worldwide, people felt a powerful connection to those who came before them. They believed their ancestors weren't truly gone. Instead, they were seen as wise guides, or as spirits still present, influencing the living. It wasn't about worshipping them like gods, but honoring their wisdom, their struggles, and the life they passed down. They understood that everything they had, their land, their knowledge, their very existence came from those who lived and learned before them. Think about it like an invisible thread connecting everyone in a family. Or, the way back, you might have your great-grandmother's eyes, or your great-great-grandfather's quiet kindness. But it goes deeper than just looks. Even your DNA carries bits of all those who came before you. It's like a living library, holding stories and strengths from generations past. And that's why it matters. When we remember the ancestors, we're not just looking back. We're acknowledging that we stand on the shoulders of giants, or on a path paved by many feet. It reminds us that we are part of something much bigger than ourselves. We are a link in a very long, unbroken chain. This can help you feel more connected, more grounded, and understand your own place in humanity's vast story. It's a quiet knowing that you carry a piece of the past into the future, making your own unique mark along the way. Honoring the cycle of life. Have you ever really thought about how everything changes? The leaves fall, then new buds appear. The sun sets, but always rises again. It's a quiet dance, isn't it? This idea of a constant flow, a beautiful loop of beginning, ending, and beginning again, is at the heart of honoring the cycle of life. It's about seeing how everything, from a tiny seed to our own experiences, moves in a circle. Long ago, before big cities and bright lights, people lived closer to the earth. They watched the sun travel across the sky, felt the rhythm of the seasons, and saw plants grow from nothing, then fade, only for new life to emerge. They understood that death wasn't just an end, but a necessary part of a larger journey. It was a space for new things to come into being. This isn't a sad idea. It's actually full of hope and a deep sense of connection to everything around us. For them, every sunset held the promise of a sunrise. Every winter carried the seeds of spring. Think about water. It's a perfect example. Water in a lake warms up, and some of it evaporates, turning into invisible vapor that floats up into the sky. Then, it cools down, forms clouds, and falls back to earth as rain. That rain flows into rivers, streams, and eventually back to the lake or ocean. It never truly disappears. It just changes its form and its place, constantly moving, constantly transforming. Here's the thing, our lives, our feelings, and even our big ideas are a lot like that water cycle. Moments come and go, challenges arrive and pass, and we grow and change, making space for new lessons and experiences. So, when we honor the cycle of life, we're learning to find peace in change. We're seeing the beauty in letting go and the quiet excitement in what's coming next. It's about trusting that even when one part of the story ends, another is always waiting to begin. There's a gentle wisdom in this, a reminder that life, in all its forms, is always flowing, always renewing itself. Seasons as teachers, have you ever really watched the world change around you? Noticed how summer's bright days cool into autumn's light, or how winter's quiet gives way to spring's burst of green? For a long, long time, people didn't just see these shifts as changes in weather. They saw something deeper, a hidden wisdom in the turning year. Think about it. The earth has this constant rhythm. Spring arrives, full of new beginnings. Everything wakes up, pushing towards the sun. Summer brings the energy of growth, long warm days for expanding and shining. As autumn comes, the world paints itself in fiery colors before it lets go. Leaves fall, harvests are gathered, a natural slowing down begins, and finally, winter covers the land in silence, a time for rest, for going deep inside, for gathering strength beneath the surface. This wasn't just interesting to ancient people, it was how they understood life's very flow. They felt that if nature followed these cycles, birth, growth, decay, rest, rebirth, then our own lives were also meant to move in similar patterns. They saw that even after something seemed to end, like a tree shedding its last leaf, it wasn't truly over. It was just preparing for a new beginning, gathering its strength in the quiet. This deep understanding of cycles was how they saw the world. Here's how this works. Think about a new school year. It feels like spring, doesn't it? Full of new classes, new friends, new chances. You're full of fresh energy, learning and growing through the months. That's like summer. Wrapping up projects and preparing for exams feels a bit like autumn, bringing things to a close. And summer break. That's your personal winter, a vital time to rest, recharge, and dream before the next spring of learning begins. So, the seasons are more than just dates on a calendar. They are like patient, ancient teachers, showing us that change is natural, that rest is necessary, and that even endings hold the quiet promise of new, beautiful beginnings. There's a calming power in realizing that, a comfort in knowing we are part of this grand, unending dance. The wisdom of winter's rest. Have you ever noticed how the world feels different in winter? Not just cold, but quieter, maybe even a little sleepy. For thousands of years, people looked at winter not as something to just get through, but as a wise teacher. They saw that nature doesn't keep growing forever. After a busy spring and summer, the earth pulls back. Trees drop their leaves, animals slow down, some even hibernate. This isn't laziness, it's a necessary pause. Ancient cultures, often called pagan because they followed nature's rhythms, understood this deep truth. They didn't fight winter. Instead, they honored it. They knew the land needed to rest to be fertile again. And they believed people needed to rest too. It was a time for reflection, for telling stories by firelight, for being still and quiet inside. It was about trusting that after this quiet time, new life would burst forth again. It's like the earth holds its breath, waiting. Think about your own life. You can't be busy and on all the time, right? If you study hard for a big test, you need to take a break afterwards. If you play a sport all season, your body eventually needs a rest. It's the same idea. Your mind and body need that quiet time to recharge, to sort things out. When you just chill, letting your thoughts settle, that's your personal winter. So, what can we learn from this ancient wisdom? Maybe it's that slowing down isn't giving up. it's actually a powerful way to prepare for what comes next. It's a quiet strength, a trust in the natural rhythm of things, and that quiet stillness, it's where new ideas often start to form, hidden just beneath the surface, waiting for their own spring. Spring's burst of life. Do you ever notice that quiet hum, that gentle stirring, when winter finally steps aside? It's like the whole world takes a deep breath and lets out a sigh of life. The trees bud, tiny shoots push through the soil, and everything feels new again. For people long ago, this wasn't just a season, it was a miracle. They saw the earth as something alive, something that died a little in winter and then came back to life with incredible power. This idea of life bursting forth, of growth and rebirth, was sacred. It was in their stories, their art, their daily rituals. They honored this return of life, believing it was a gift, a promise that even after darkness, life would always find a way. Think about when you felt a little down, maybe after a tough week or a difficult challenge. Then, suddenly, something clicks. You get a good idea, a friend says just the right thing, or you find a new energy for something. That feeling, that moment of renewal, is a tiny echo of spring's big burst. It's that inner push, the natural urge to grow and thrive, even after a quiet period. And that's the thing about spring's wild, hopeful energy. It's a reminder that life isn't just about what you see on the surface. There's a deeper current, a constant force of renewal, always at work, inside us and all around us. It teaches us about resilience, about the quiet strength that builds up before everything explodes into color and sound. It's a whisper from ancient times, telling us life's cycles are meant to be embraced, understood, and celebrated. Summer's brightest days. Have you ever really stopped to think about summer? Not just the break from school, but how the light feels different, how the days seem to stretch out forever. There's a certain kind of energy in the air when the sun is high and strong. This feeling, this burst of brightness, it's something humans have known and felt for thousands of years. Ancient people, long before our modern calendars, watched the sun very closely. They knew the summer solstice was the longest day of the year. It's when the sun reaches its highest point in the sky, a time of peak power. The world around them was full of green, and everything felt alive. Crops were growing, animals were active. They saw this as a special moment, a gift of warmth and light. Many cultures held big celebrations then, almost like a giant thank you to the sun for all its energy. They believed the sun was like a powerful friend, giving gifts that helped life thrive. Here's the thing, even today, many modern religions have special days or festivals around this time. They might not call it a solstice celebration, but they often focus on themes of light, growth, or new life. It's like an echo, a quiet memory of those old sun festivals, woven into new traditions. Think about a plant in your garden. It grows and grows, soaking up all the light, until it's at its most full and green. That's what the summer peak feels like. Or, imagine your phone battery reaching 100%. It's super strong and ready for anything. The summer solstice is like the Earth's battery, fully charged and buzzing with life. So, when you feel that deep sense of joy and energy on a bright summer day, it's not just the good weather. It's a connection to something very old and very deep inside us. It's a quiet understanding that we are part of nature's grand, beautiful dance. This time reminds us of the power of light and how good it feels when life is full and vibrant. Autumn's letting go. Have you ever watched the leaves fall in autumn? It's more than just trees getting ready for winter. It's something much deeper, something ancient that speaks to us still. Autumn teaches us about letting go. The trees don't hold on to their leaves, they simply release them. This isn't a sign of weakness. Instead, it's a powerful act of shedding what has served its purpose. It makes space for new growth, for rest, and for future life. Many old traditions, the ones we now call pagan, truly understood this. They saw autumn as a sacred time for release, for saying goodbye to the old. For these ancient people, autumn festivals weren't just about the harvest. They were also times to reflect on cycles of dying and rebirth. They knew that for the seeds of spring to grow, the old crops had to die and return to the earth. This idea, this cycle of letting go and renewal, quietly shows up in many of our modern beliefs too. Think about how some faiths talk about forgiving mistakes and starting fresh, or how we learn to move on from a bad day. It's the same core idea, to move forward. Sometimes you have to release the past. Imagine your backpack at the end of the school year. It's full of old papers, crumpled notes, maybe a broken pencil. You don't need those things anymore. To get ready for a new year, you have to empty it out. Throw away the clutter. It feels good, right? Like a fresh start. That's a bit like what autumn does. It clears out the old, so there's room for new energy, new ideas, and new life too. Come in. So, when you see those leaves gently float down, remember, it's not just a beautiful sight. It's a quiet lesson from nature. It's a reminder that sometimes, the bravest thing we can do is simply let go. To trust that letting go makes space for something wonderful to bloom, even if it's just a quiet peace inside us. The idea of a sacred journey. Have you ever stopped to think about life, not just as a series of days, but as a journey? Not simply moving from one place to another, but a deeper path, full of twists and turns, challenges, and quiet moments. Think about all the stories we cherish, from the oldest myths about heroes to the newest movies. So often, the main character must set out, embarking on a quest. This isn't just about them traveling somewhere. It's about something much more profound. A sacred journey is a path that truly changes you from the inside out. It's an inward trip as much as an outward one. For thousands of years, people across wildly different cultures have understood and honored this profound idea. The ancient Celts, for example, would embark on long pilgrimages to holy sites, not just to see a special place, but to find something essential within themselves, a deeper understanding or a sense of peace. Many indigenous peoples had what were called vision quests, where young individuals would go into nature alone for days, seeking guidance and discovering their true purpose. And this idea isn't just confined to old history books. This concept is much like a long-term science project. You don't just start and immediately arrive at the perfect answer. Instead, you research tirelessly, you experiment again and again, you face failures, you learn from every mistake, and you try once more. The real learning, the true personal growth, doesn't just happen with the final discovery. It blossoms within the entire process. You become a different person through the effort, more skilled, more resilient, and far more thoughtful. That's why this idea of a journey truly matters. Here's the thing. Many modern religions, even if they don't use the exact words sacred journey, still carry this deep, ancient wisdom. They speak of spiritual growth, of following a divinely guided path, of overcoming life's trials to become a more compassionate, wiser person. It's always about the transformation that happens as you move through life's experiences, the way you grow into who you are meant to be. Maybe, then, our own lives, with all their challenges and quiet beauty, are the most sacred journeys of all, always leading us somewhere new, somewhere deeper within ourselves. Finding awe in nature. Have you ever stood outside and felt completely lost in the moment? Maybe the sun was setting, painting the sky with colors you didn't know existed. Or perhaps you looked up at the vastness of the night sky, dotted with countless stars. This feeling, a mix of wonder and a little bit of feeling small, is called awe. It's a deep sense of respect and amazement for something much bigger than yourself. For a long time, across many different cultures, people felt this connection deeply. Ancient pagans, for instance, didn't just see trees or rivers. They believed spirits, or even gods, lived within them. They felt the rustle of leaves was a whisper, the crashing waves a powerful voice. They understood that nature wasn't just a background to their lives. It was alive, sacred, and full of hidden meaning. This wasn't about worshipping a specific god from a book. It was about feeling connected to something vast and ancient, a power that shaped everything around us. Think about standing next to a giant redwood tree, hundreds of years old, so tall you can barely see the top. Or imagine watching a tiny seed sprout into a strong plant, pushing through the soil against all odds. These moments make us pause. They remind us that there's a complex, powerful energy at work in the world. It's like when you learn about the sheer size of a galaxy, or how tiny atoms build everything around us. It makes your brain stretch, makes you feel a connection to something much bigger than your everyday life. This sense of awe, this deep appreciation for the natural world, helps us feel more grounded. It reminds us that we are part of something incredible, a tiny but vital piece of a much larger, beautiful puzzle. When you find awe in nature, you're not just looking at a tree or a river. You're feeling a link to an ancient wisdom, a quiet power that has existed since before humans walked the earth. And that feeling can bring a calm peace, a sense of belonging in the wide, wild world. Gods and goddesses in disguise. Have you ever thought about how old stories never truly disappear? They just change, like ancient rivers carving new paths, carrying old truths. For centuries, people tried to understand the world. They saw the sun's power, the moon's mystery, the wildness of storms. To explain these huge forces, they imagined gods and goddesses. These powerful beings represented parts of nature or big ideas, like a goddess of harvest, bringing food, or a god of war, showing strength. Here's the thing. When new religions grew, they didn't always erase everything. Instead, sometimes, old ideas just put on new clothes. The deep human needs for comfort or strength didn't vanish. So, some roles or qualities of older gods and goddesses found a new home in the figures or saints of later faiths. It's like a famous song played on new instruments. The notes are familiar, but the sound feels fresh. Consider how many cultures have a story about a powerful mother figure, protecting and nurturing. In ancient times, she might have been a Mother Earth goddess. Later, a similar nurturing role appears in other faiths, maybe as a saint. It's the same basic human need for comfort and guidance, just expressed in a new way. Or think about the hero who goes on a difficult journey, faces problems, and comes back changed. That story pops up everywhere, because it's part of being human. So, when we look closely, we might find echoes of ancient beliefs whispering in today's language. It reminds us that humanity's search for meaning is a long, continuous journey. Our stories change, but our deepest questions often stay the same. It shows how connected we are to people who lived long ago, under different skies, but with similar hearts. The spark of life inside us. Have you ever stopped to wonder what makes you, you, beyond your bones and skin, beyond your thoughts and feelings? Is there something else, a deeper core? Many cultures throughout history, including the ancient ones, sometimes called pagan, believed there was. They felt a special energy, a warm, quiet glow deep within every living thing. They called this many things: a soul, a spirit, or a life force. It was seen as the very essence that turned a simple collection of cells into something vibrant, something that could grow, learn, and feel. Here's the thing, this idea isn't new. It's a very old belief, found in almost every part of the world. From ancient Egypt to the wise traditions of Native American tribes, they all recognized this inner spark, a kind of invisible fire that made life possible and sacred. For them, this spark connected us not just to each other, but to the entire natural world. It was the same energy they saw in the surging river, the whispering wind, and the strength of a towering tree. It wasn't just inside us, it flowed through us, connecting us to everything that breathes and grows. Think about a small seed, sitting in the palm of your hand. It looks so ordinary, so still. But inside that tiny shell, there's an amazing, powerful potential. It's a spark of life waiting. Give it sunlight, water, and soil, and that hidden energy awakens. It pushes, it stretches, it grows into something completely new, a plant reaching for the sky. The plant isn't just dirt and water, it's the life that came from that original spark. That vital, quiet drive is a lot like the spark within each of us. So, here's what it comes down to. You carry something truly special inside you. It's that part of you that dreams, that creates, that feels wonder. It's a quiet reminder that you are part of something much bigger, a living connection to the vast, beautiful world around you. What is a soul, really? Have you ever stopped to wonder what a soul really is? Is it a ghost inside us, or something more? For a long time, people across the world have tried to understand this mystery. Here's the thing. Many ancient cultures, long before modern religions took shape, believed in a life force, a spirit, or an inner spark. It wasn't always about heaven or hell, but about the very essence of who you are. Think of it like this. Your body is like a musical instrument. It has strings, wood, and shape. But what makes it a musical instrument isn't just the parts. It's the melody, the song that can be played on it. You can't touch the melody, but it's the most important part, right? Without the melody, it's just wood and strings. The soul, then, is like that unseen melody. It's the unique tune of you. Ancient Greek thinkers, like Plato, talked about the soul as the part of us that thinks, feels, and chooses. It was seen as immortal, meaning it couldn't die. Many early traditions, including those we call pagan, saw the soul not just as individual, but connected to everything else, to nature, to ancestors, to the universe itself. It was the spark that gave life, and it returned to the great source when the body was gone. So, here's what I found. A soul might not be a physical thing, but it's real in a deeper sense. It's your inner world, your consciousness, your unique way of seeing, feeling, and existing. It's what makes you more than just flesh and bones. It's the quiet place inside where dreams are born and true feelings live. And that's why it matters. It reminds us that there's a profound, beautiful mystery in each of us, a spark connecting us to something vast and ancient. Connecting with everything. Have you ever looked up at the night sky, or stood by a vast ocean, and felt a quiet tug, like you were part of something huge and ancient? This feeling, this sense of being totally linked to everything around you, is a really old idea. It's a whisper from way back in time, suggesting that no one and nothing truly stands alone. Here's the thing. Many ancient beliefs, long before our modern religions took shape, held this truth close. People looked at the sun, the moon, the turning seasons, and saw them as living parts of a grand, connected web. They felt a spirit, not just in the world, but as the world itself. Indigenous cultures, for instance, often spoke of Mother Earth, or saw animals and plants as relatives. They understood that if you hurt a river, you hurt yourself, because you were both part of the same life. It was a deep understanding that everything, from the smallest insect to the biggest mountain, is woven into one giant, beautiful tapestry. Think about a forest. A single tree isn't just standing there by itself. Its roots reach out, sharing water and nutrients with other trees nearby. Tiny fungi under the ground connect them all, passing messages and food. The birds build nests in the branches. The deer nibble the leaves, and the soil is full of life that helps the trees grow. If one part of the forest struggles, it affects everything else. It's like how in your own family, what one person does can touch everyone. We breathe the same air, share the same water, walk on the same earth. Even the atoms in your body once belonged to stars. So, this ancient idea of connecting with everything isn't just history. It's a gentle reminder for us today. When we feel truly connected, we feel less alone. We start to see our place in the world, not as a tiny speck, but as an important thread. It makes us appreciate the world more, and maybe even treat each other and our planet with a little more care and wonder. It's a quiet knowing that we are all, always, part of something immense and beautiful. The world is a living thing. Have you ever looked at a forest or a vast ocean and felt like it was more than just a place? Like it was breathing, or watching, or holding a secret? For a long, long time, people across the world believed the earth itself, and everything in it, the rivers, the mountains, even individual rocks and trees, was alive. They thought these things had their own spirit, their own energy. This idea is really old, going back to almost the start of human history. Ancient cultures, especially indigenous peoples all over the globe, often saw the world as one giant, connected, living being. They didn't just walk on the earth, they felt like they were part of its body. The trees were like its lungs, the rivers its veins, and the wind its breath. They understood that if the earth hurt, they would too, because they were deeply connected to it. They lived with a deep respect for every part of nature, knowing it had a life force of its own. Think about a favorite old tree in your neighborhood, maybe one you've known your whole life. You probably don't just see it as wood and leaves. It has character, right? It might feel like a quiet friend, a keeper of memories, or a strong, silent presence. That feeling, that sense of connection and life beyond just what you can see, is a small echo of how many ancient people viewed the entire world. It's not just a collection of objects. It has a story, a pulse. So, if we begin to see the world not just as resources for us to use, but as a living, breathing entity, how might that change how we treat it? It's a quiet thought, but powerful. If the earth is alive, then caring for it becomes like caring for a part of ourselves, nurturing a relationship, rather than just taking from a silent, unfeeling thing. It brings a gentle understanding that we are all woven into the same magnificent tapestry of life. Old myths, new meanings. Have you ever thought about how old stories change over time? Like a song covered by different artists. Maybe the tune shifts, but the feeling it gives you stays the same. That's how old myths work. Ancient people made up stories to understand the big, mysterious world. They looked at the sun, the moon, the trees, and felt something powerful there. They saw life and death, spring returning after winter. and made tales to explain these deep cycles. Here's the thing, those old feelings, those core ideas from ancient stories, never really went away. They didn't vanish when religions changed. Instead, they often simply put on new clothes. The old wisdom, the wonder, the attempts to make sense of our world, got wrapped up in new words and rituals. It's like when we talk about a spark of life, or a dark night of the soul. These aren't just modern phrases, they echo much older ways of seeing the world, where spirits lived in rivers and light fought shadows. Think about how many cultures celebrate light winning over darkness. Long ago, people worried as winter grew cold and days got shorter. They lit fires, told stories of heroes, and hoped the sun would return. And it always did. This wasn't just about the sun. It was about hope itself, about renewal, about trusting that good things come after hard times. Today, we still see echoes of this. Festivals like Christmas, Hanukkah, or Diwali, with their bright lights in the darkest part of the year, carry that same ancient message. We're still celebrating the promise of light, the idea that even when things feel dim, a new dawn is coming. So, when we look closely, we find these ancient whispers in our modern world. It shows us that deep down, humans have always asked the same big questions. We've always sought comfort, connection, and a way to understand life's powerful forces. It's a beautiful reminder that we are all connected, not just to each other, but to everyone who came before us, sharing the same wonder under the same sky. Heroes who changed the world. Have you ever stopped to think about what truly makes a hero? What truly shifts the world? For centuries, people have told tales. Heroes weren't just strong, they questioned bravely, seeing new light. Think of old myths, from ancient Greece or Rome. Their heroes held a special spark, though not always perfect. They fought monsters, and often old ways of thinking. They journeyed for truth, bringing new knowledge at great risk. These stories taught living, showing courage isn't just muscle. It's also about changing your mind, or standing up for what feels right, even when it's unpopular. Consider a simple idea. Imagine a puzzle you're stuck on. Everyone tries the same methods, but then, someone looks at it differently. They flip a piece, try a new angle, and suddenly, it fits. That person, in that moment, is a hero. They used a new way of seeing, challenging how things were done. This is a quiet kind of heroism. So, what does this mean for us? Maybe true heroes look beyond what everyone else accepts. They find hidden pathways, truths always there but out of sight. It's quiet courage, exploring, questioning, growing. This power lives in all of us. It's about listening to that quiet voice that whispers, "What if?" and being brave enough to follow it. The power of storytelling. Have you ever felt completely lost inside a story, like the world around you just faded away? That's the quiet magic of storytelling. It's more than just words or a movie. It's how we make sense of everything. Think of the first people, sitting around a campfire, looking up at the silent stars. They started to tell tales. They weren't just passing time. They were trying to understand. Think about ancient times. Before books, before even writing, stories were the only way to hold on to ideas. How did we learn about seasons, or why the sun rose each day? Through stories. How did people explain courage, kindness, or fear? Through adventures of heroes and gods. Through myths that whispered truths about the human heart. These stories weren't just for fun, they were lessons. They showed what a group of people believed, what they feared, and what they hoped for. Think about a song that really hits you. The words and melody create a feeling, a picture in your mind. Or think about someone telling you a difficult story. Suddenly, you understand them better. Our brains are built for stories. When we hear one, our brain activity lights up, as if we're living it. It's not just hearing facts, it's feeling them. This lets us step into someone else's shoes, even if they lived thousands of years ago or are just a legend. So, stories are not just old tales, they are living things. Powerful threads connect us across time and space. They teach us without us even knowing, sinking deep into our understanding. The oldest stories, whispered from way back, often hold the deepest truths about us. Truths that just keep showing up, even in new ways. We carry these stories, and they carry us. Chance that echo on. Have you ever noticed how some sounds, some words, just stick with you? Like a song you can't get out of your head, or a team cheer that makes you feel excited days later. There's a quiet power in repeating words, especially with rhythm. Long ago, people learned that repeating certain sounds or phrases did something special. It wasn't just about singing, it was about focusing the mind, calming the heart, or feeling closer to nature. Ancient people used chants to celebrate harvests, to ask for rain, or to aid the sick. They believed their voices, used together, could influence the world. Here's the thing, your brain loves patterns. When you repeat something like a song's chorus or facts for a test, your brain builds connections. It helps you remember and focus. Think about a crowd chanting defense. At a sports game, that shared rhythm helps the team and fans feel connected through sound. Many modern religions use this idea, even if they don't call them chants. Prayers said many times, or hymns sung week after week, are echoes of those old ways. They create feelings of peace, belonging, or hope. This rhythm and repetition can quiet your mind, helping you focus on something deeper. So, when you hear a repeated prayer or familiar hymn, maybe you'll hear more than just words. You might hear the quiet echoes of ancient voices, reaching across time. It's a reminder that humans have always found comfort, connection, and understanding through sound and repetition. Sacred dances, old rhythms. Have you ever felt a song deep inside you, making your feet tap or your body sway? When a great beat comes on, do you just feel the urge to move? For a very long time, people didn't just dance for fun. They danced to talk to the world around them, a powerful, wordless prayer. It was a way to tell stories with their bodies, connecting them to something bigger. In ancient times, before churches or books, people used dance for their most important moments. They danced for good harvests, or to heal someone sick, or to celebrate new life, even to say goodbye to those who passed away. Every step, every sway, was full of meaning. It wasn't just random movement, it was a way to feel the rhythm of life itself. It connected them to the sun, the moon, the seasons, and each other. It was a language everyone understood. Here's the thing. Think about a time you've been at a concert or a school pep rally. When everyone moves to the same beat, there's this incredible feeling, right? A sense of being part of something big. It's not just the music or the excitement. It's about shared energy, a connection beyond words. It's like our bodies remember this old, deep way of belonging. Even a simple rhythm, like your own steady heartbeat, can make you feel calm or focused. This is a natural rhythm we all share. So, when we see people moving to music, whether in a religious service, a community gathering, or just swaying in their living room, maybe we're still touching those ancient, sacred rhythms. Our bodies hold these old ways of connecting. They remember how to express feelings words can't quite capture, reminding us that we are part of this ongoing ancient dance with the world. Giving thanks for the rain. Have you ever just sat and watched the rain fall? Not just the heavy downpour, but the quiet, gentle kind. For thousands of years, people felt a deep connection to the sky and what it sent down. They didn't have weather apps or big science labs. They knew, in their bones, how much the rain meant. It wasn't just water, it was life. Imagine a time when every drop of water came from the sky, or from a river fed by the sky. No fancy pipes, no giant water treatment plants. If rain didn't come, crops withered, animals went thirsty, people suffered. So, giving thanks for rain wasn't just a nice idea. It was a deep, honest feeling of survival. Many ancient cultures had rituals, songs, and dances for the rain. They saw it as a gift, sacred, a blessing. This wasn't about worshipping a rain god. It was about truly understanding that nature provided everything they needed. Think about a plant at home, a small herb, a flower in your yard. What happens if you forget to water it? It droops, leaves turn dull. It looks sad. But then you water it, and it perks up, vibrant again. That simple act of watering, that's what rain does for the entire world, on a much bigger scale. It brings everything back to life. So, the next time you see rain, even if it messes up your plans, take a moment, just breathe. Think about how vital it is. That deep, simple gratitude for the water that helps everything grow, that's a feeling as old as humanity itself. It's a quiet reminder of how connected we are to the natural world, and how much we depend on its silent, steady gifts. The strength of community. Have you ever felt truly part of something bigger than yourself? Like a team, or a club, where everyone counts. Here's the thing, that feeling, that sense of belonging, is deeply powerful. It's the strength of community. For ancient people, Living in groups wasn't just a nice idea, it was how they survived. They faced harsh weather, found food, and kept each other safe, all by working together. Their songs, their stories, their sacred places, all of it revolved around the group, the tribe, the circle. This shared life, this deep reliance on one another, was the very heart of their existence and their beliefs. Think about a forest. A single tree stands tall, but it's part of a vast network. Its roots intertwine with others underground, sharing water and nutrients, creating a hidden support system. When a strong wind blows, a lone tree might fall, but a forest stands firm, each tree supporting its neighbors, leaning on each other against the storm. This idea of many individuals forming an unbreakable whole is a very old, very natural wisdom. It teaches us that our individual strength grows when we connect with others, when we allow ourselves to be supported and to support in return. And this isn't just an old idea from history books, it happens in our everyday lives. Imagine you're trying to learn a complicated new skill, like playing a musical instrument or coding a video game. It feels hard, right? But what if you join a group of friends who are all learning the same thing? Suddenly, you're sharing tips, cheering each other on, and helping when someone gets stuck. The challenge doesn't disappear, but the feeling of doing it alone does. The shared effort makes everyone stronger, more likely to succeed, and the journey itself becomes richer. Modern religions often talk about coming together, about fellowship, about being one body, and that's why it matters. It's a quiet echo of those ancient ways, reminding us that we are woven into something larger, something that gives us roots and wings at the same time. We find peace and purpose not just by ourselves, but in the shared journey with others. It's a gentle whisper from the past, telling us that true strength often comes from connection, from holding hands, even across time and different beliefs. It's a quiet understanding that we are all part of a larger, living tapestry. Shared meals, shared spirit. Have you ever thought about why we gather around a table to eat? It's more than just about filling our stomachs, right? There's a deeper feeling that happens when we share a meal with other people. Just think about it. A family dinner, a friend's birthday party, or even splitting a pizza after school. These moments often feel special, more meaningful than eating alone. For a very long time, across many ancient cultures, sharing food wasn't just a daily chore. It was seen as sacred, deeply important. People believed that, when they ate together, especially during special ceremonies, they were connecting with something bigger than themselves. Maybe it was their gods, or the spirit of their community, or even the energy of the land they lived on. It was a powerful way to bring everyone closer, to make them feel like one group, a family, a tribe. And here's the thing, many modern religions still carry these traditions. Think about the shared bread and wine in Christian communion, or the breaking of bread in other faiths. These acts are echoes of those very old ways of understanding how food and togetherness connect us. It's a bit like when you're part of a sports team, and after a tough game, you all share a meal. You talk, laugh, and unwind. That shared experience, along with the food, helps build a bond that feels much stronger than if everyone just went home by themselves. There's even a natural human reason for this. When we connect over food, our brains release chemicals that make us feel good and closer, helping us trust each other. It's a natural way we build belonging. Sharing food is a simple, yet powerful, ritual that tells us, we are together. You belong here. So, next time you find yourself sharing a meal with someone, maybe pause for a moment. Feel that quiet connection, that deep sense of community. It's a very old, very human way of saying, you are part of this, you are seen, you are valued. It's a deep, hidden thread connecting us to our ancient past, reminding us that at our core, we all search for connection and a shared spirit through the simple, beautiful act of breaking bread together, honoring the earth. Always have you ever stopped, really stopped, and just felt the ground beneath your feet? It might be concrete or soft grass, but it's all part of the same vast, living earth. And here's the thing, for thousands of years, people didn't just walk on the earth, they honored it. They saw the planet not just as dirt and rocks, but as a wise, giving parent, a sacred being that birthed all life. This deep respect for the earth, this sense of it being alive and holy, is an ancient idea. It comes from times when people lived much closer to nature. They understood that everything they ate, every drop of water they drank, every shelter they built, came directly from the land. They saw the cycles of the seasons, the planting, the growing, the harvest, the rest, as the earth's breath, its own rhythm. So, they would thank the land, sing to it, and try to live in balance with it, because they knew their very survival depended on its health and generosity. Think about a small seed. It falls into the soil, takes water from the rain, energy from the sun, and then, from this simple connection, it grows into a mighty tree or a plant that feeds us. Your own body, every part of you, is made of elements that once came from this earth. When you breathe, you're taking in air that cycles through the planet. When you eat, you're taking in sunlight and rain held within a fruit or vegetable. This connection isn't just poetic, it's a deep, scientific truth. We are the earth, in another form. So, when we remember to honor the earth, we aren't just doing a nice thing, we are remembering where we come from. We're connecting to an ancient wisdom that reminds us we are part of something much bigger. It can help you feel more grounded, more at peace, knowing you belong to this incredible, giving planet. It's a quiet truth that still whispers to us, guiding us to care for our home, because in caring for it, we care for ourselves. Taking care of our planet, have you ever stopped to truly feel the earth beneath your feet, or the wind on your face? It's easy to forget that this planet, our home, is alive in so many ways. For thousands of years, long before modern religions, people saw the natural world as deeply sacred. They believed forests, rivers, and even the smallest stone held a kind of spirit. This wasn't just a simple idea. It was a core belief that guided how they lived. They understood everything was connected: trees, animals, water, and themselves. If you cut down too many trees, or polluted a river, you weren't just harming a resource. You were hurting something vital, something with its own life. Many ancient cultures had a Mother Earth concept, a loving force that provided everything. So, treating the earth with respect was honoring this great mother. Think about your own room. You spend a lot of time there. If you treat it carelessly, leave trash, or break things, it stops feeling comfortable. But if you clean it and take care of your belongings, it feels good. The earth is like our global room, much bigger. If we just take without giving back, eventually, it won't be able to support us. Here's the thing, we are part of nature, not separate. Maybe the old wisdom still holds true. Maybe our job isn't to control the earth, but to be its careful guardians, to remember that every stream, every tree, every creature has a right to thrive. And when we protect our planet, we are really protecting ourselves, and all who will come after us. It's a quiet promise we make to the future, holding the earth gently in our hands. The idea of karma's return. Have you ever wondered why sometimes, after you do something kind for someone, a good thing happens to you later? Or maybe, you've noticed that when someone is always being unfair, they seem to run into problems down the road. This idea that what you put out into the world comes back to you is incredibly old. It's a principle known as karma. Karma isn't about some big judge in the sky keeping score. Here's the thing, it's more like a natural law of the universe, like how gravity works. It means every action, thought, and word we send out creates a ripple. These ripples don't just disappear, they travel outwards, and then, eventually, they come back to us. Think of it like an echo. When you shout into a canyon, your voice returns to you. Karma suggests our choices are like that. Shout, that shout. This deep idea wasn't new to any one religion. Ancient wisdom, especially from places like India, in traditions like Buddhism and Hinduism, talked about karma thousands of years ago. They saw life as a complex web, where every strand is connected. When you touch one part of the web, the whole thing moves, and the vibration eventually reaches back to where it started. It's not just about punishment or reward. It's about understanding the consequence that naturally follows. Here's an example. Imagine you're at school, and you help a classmate who is struggling with a tough math problem, even though you're busy. That simple act of kindness isn't forgotten. Maybe that classmate, or someone else, will remember your helpfulness and offer you support when you need it most. Or, think about how our mood affects others. If you walk into a room feeling grumpy, that feeling can spread, and soon everyone might feel a bit down. But if you bring a positive energy, that can lift everyone up, making the whole space feel better, and in turn, making you feel better too. So, the idea of karma's return isn't really about luck or fate. It's a gentle reminder that we are all part of a huge, interconnected system. Every small choice we make, every word we speak, sends out a silent message, and that message always finds its way home. It makes you think about the kind of messages you want to send out into the world, doesn't it? It invites us to live with more awareness, knowing that our peace often comes from the goodness we share. What goes around comes around. Have you ever wondered if the good things you do, or even the not so good things, somehow find their way back to you? It's a feeling many people share, a quiet whisper that says every action creates a ripple. This idea, often called what goes around comes around, is like a hidden principle woven into how the world works. It's not about magic or instant rewards. It's more about how our choices echo through our lives and the lives of others. Think about a seed planted in the ground. If you plant an apple seed, you'll eventually get an apple tree, right? You won't get an orange tree. For a very long time, people across different cultures have thought of our actions in a similar way. They believed that just like a farmer reaps what they sow, humans experience the consequences of their deeds. It's a deep, old wisdom that suggests our lives are shaped by the kindness we offer, or the hurt we cause. Here's the thing, you can see this in your everyday life. Imagine you're at school, and you always help your friends with their homework, or you're always kind when someone is having a tough day. Over time, those friends will likely be there for you when you need help, or offer you comfort when you're sad. It's like building a bridge of connection, where positive energy flows back and forth. But here's the problem. If someone is often unkind or talks behind people's backs, they might find themselves feeling more alone, because others naturally pull away from that negative energy. So this idea isn't about punishment or reward from some far-off power. It's a gentle reminder that our choices, big or small, create a path forward for us. It means we hold a quiet power in our hands every day, the power to choose kindness, to choose understanding, and to build a world where goodness can return to us, like a calm tide. Finding our inner compass. Have you ever had to make a tough choice, and you just knew what felt right, deep down, not because someone told you, but because something inside you just steered you? That feeling is a lot like having an inner compass. It's that quiet sense of direction we carry within us, guiding us towards what truly aligns with who we are. It's a gentle pull, a whisper from your very core, helping you decide what path feels right for you. For thousands of years, people across different cultures, including many ancient traditions often called pagan, understood the importance of this inner wisdom. They didn't always look to big rulebooks or faraway leaders for answers. Instead, they spent time listening to their own hearts, their intuition, and the natural world around them. They believed that the answers we need are often found inside ourselves, if only we learn how to listen. This idea was about connecting with personal truth, not just following external commands. It wasn't about being selfish. It was about being true to your own deepest sense of what's good and right. Think about a real compass. It always points north, no matter how lost you feel in the woods or how stormy the weather gets. It doesn't tell you where to go exactly, but it gives you a constant reference point. Our inner compass works like that too. It's not a detailed map for every single step you take. Instead, it's a feeling, a deep knowing, that tells you if you're heading in a direction that feels honest and true for you. Maybe it's choosing to stand up for a friend, even when it's hard and scary. Or maybe it's knowing when to say no to something that just doesn't feel right in your gut, even if everyone else is doing it. This inner compass helps you find your true north in life, that unique direction that is genuinely yours. So here's the thing, learning to trust this inner compass is a powerful, ongoing journey. It means taking time to pause, to breathe, and to really tune in to that soft, steady voice inside you. In a world full of loud opinions and endless distractions, it can be easy to lose our way or doubt what we feel. But remembering to check in with that inner guide can help us make choices that feel authentic and true. It helps us walk paths that genuinely light up our spirit and lead us toward a sense of wholeness. It's about finding your own way home, always guided by the quiet wisdom within. Listening to our gut feelings. Have you ever had that feeling, deep down, that just knew something? Maybe it was a sense of warning, or a quiet pull towards a choice, even when it didn't make perfect sense on paper. That feeling is often called your gut instinct, and it's a powerful, ancient kind of wisdom living inside us all. Here's the thing, before there were huge libraries or endless screens, people relied on more than just logical steps. They paid close attention to the world around them, yes, but also to the world within. Ancient cultures, many of them pagan, understood that wisdom wasn't only found in books or sermons. it was also found in the subtle signals our bodies and minds send us. They saw intuition not as guesswork, but as a connection to a deeper truth, a kind of internal compass guiding them through life's complex forest. Think about it like this. When a baby animal is born, it just knows how to find its mother, how to walk, how to survive. It doesn't read a manual. It has an instinct. Our gut feelings are a bit like that, a very old, very smart part of us. Like when you meet someone new, and everyone says they're great, but something about them just feels off to you. Or when you're working on a creative project, and a certain color or word just feels right, even if you can't explain why. That's your intuition speaking. It's collecting little bits of information your conscious mind might miss, then sending you a feeling, a signal. And that's why it matters. Trusting this inner voice isn't about being irrational. It's about remembering that we carry a rich history of knowing, a kind of inherent wisdom that has guided humans for thousands of years. It reminds us that sometimes the answers we seek aren't out there in plain sight, but whispered from a quiet place within us, waiting for us to listen. This ancient idea of honoring our inner knowing truly is a principle that echoes even in our modern search for truth. The beauty of imperfection. Have you ever looked at something that wasn't quite perfect and felt a deeper connection to it, like a favorite old t-shirt with a faded spot, or a hand-drawn picture that isn't straight but has so much character? Here's the thing, many ancient ideas, hidden in plain sight, teach us that true beauty often isn't about being flawless. Think about the world around us. A leaf isn't perfectly symmetrical, and no two trees are alike. For a long time, people saw these slight differences, these imperfections, as signs of life, signs of being real. They didn't try to make everything look the same. Instead, they celebrated the unique marks that time or nature added. It's like how a potter might leave a fingerprint on a clay pot, showing it was made by hand, not a machine. That small mark tells a story. This idea even pops up in how we feel about people. Imagine a friend who's super good at sports, but always messes up one part of their hair. Or maybe they tell the funniest jokes but can never spell words correctly. Those little quirks, those human imperfections, often make them even more lovable. Right, they make your friend real and unique. You might find that their small struggles make their successes shine even brighter. So, here's what I found. Instead of chasing an impossible idea of perfect, what if we started seeing the beauty in things that are a little chipped, worn, or offset? Maybe those are the very things that give them depth, history, and a special kind of heart. It reminds us that our own small flaws aren't weaknesses. They're part of what makes us wonderfully, uniquely us, and that's why it matters. Everything has a purpose. Have you ever looked at something small, maybe a tiny pebble on the ground, or a sudden change in your day, and wondered, what's the point of that? Sometimes life throws little moments at us that seem completely random, like a bird suddenly flying across your window or a cloud shaped like a dragon. But what if those moments aren't random at all? For a very long time, people have thought about this idea, that everything, no matter how small or how strange, it seems, has a reason for being there. It's like the world is a giant, beautiful story, and every single thing in it, every person, every plant, every thought, is a word or a sentence that helps tell that story. Ancient cultures, far back in history, often felt this deeply. They looked at nature, the way seasons changed, how rivers flowed, the silent growth of a tree, and saw a clear design, a quiet purpose in everything. They believed nothing truly happened by accident. Everything was part of a larger plan, a hidden pattern. Think about a time you struggled with something, maybe a difficult math problem or a challenge in a game. At first, it might have felt frustrating, like it was just there to annoy you. But perhaps that struggle made you think harder, try new approaches, or even ask for help. And in the end, you learned something new, or you solved it in a way you never thought you could. That frustration, that struggle, suddenly had a purpose. It helped you grow. It pushed you to discover something about yourself, or the problem. And that's the thing. This way of seeing the world isn't about making excuses for bad things, but about finding meaning, even in what seems ordinary or difficult. It's about trusting that there's a quiet reason, a deeper rhythm, in the world around us, and perhaps a purpose even for you, right where you are. It can bring a sense of peace, knowing that even the smallest moments might be part of something bigger, something beautiful. Cycles of growth and change. Have you ever noticed how everything seems to come back around? The sun rises each morning, even after the darkest night. Winter turns to spring, and trees that looked dead burst into green life again. This idea, that life moves in circles, not just a straight line, is a very old way of seeing the world. For people long ago, especially those whose lives were closely tied to the land, cycles were everything. They watched the moon wax and wane, the tides come and go, and the seasons turn. They saw birth, growth, decay, and then rebirth as a constant dance, not just in nature, but in themselves too. Ancient pagan traditions deeply understood this rhythm. Their gods and goddesses often represented different parts of these cycles. Gods of the harvest, goddesses of spring, deities of the underworld who brought about winter. Death wasn't seen as a final ending, but more like winter. It was a time for rest, for things to break down so that new life could sprout from the soil. And that's why it matters. This belief gave people a sense of peace. They knew that after every ending, a new beginning was waiting. Think about a time you tried something new, and maybe it didn't work out. Like learning a complicated skill, perhaps an instrument or a sport. You practice, you struggle, you feel like giving up. That's a kind of winter. But then, you keep trying, you learn from your mistakes, and suddenly, something clicks. That's spring, you've grown. This simple idea, that difficult times eventually give way to new strength, isn't just about seasons. It's about our own hearts, our minds, our friendships. We go through phases of quiet, then bursts of energy, then periods of reflection. And here's the thing, understanding these cycles, knowing that everything changes and then returns in a new form, can make life feel a little less scary, a little more full of quiet hope. It reminds us that every ending holds the seed of a new beginning, always. The mystery of death. Have you ever stopped to wonder about death? It's a big question, isn't it? For many it feels like the ultimate end, a final curtain. But here's the thing, ancient people, like many pagans long ago, saw it very differently. They viewed death not as a stopping point, but as part of an ongoing journey, a natural loop, just like everything else in the world around them. Think about it this way, in nature, things are always changing, but they don't truly disappear. Leaves fall from trees, plants wither in winter, but this isn't the end. Those leaves become part of the soil, feeding new life. The seeds from the withered plants wait patiently underground, ready for spring. For our ancestors, this cycle was everywhere. The sun set every evening, only to rise again. The moon grew full and then faded, only to return. They believed that death was much the same, a kind of return, a quiet pause before something new began. It was a natural part of living, not something to be feared. Imagine your favorite song. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? But even when the song finishes, the sound doesn't just vanish into nothing. The air itself still holds the echoes, and the music lives on in your memory. You can play it again. It's like that. With life and death, the physical form might change, like the song ending, but the energy, the connection, the memory, that doesn't just disappear. So, maybe the mystery of death isn't about an ending, but about a transformation. It's a quiet journey back to the source, back to the earth, making way for new beginnings. It reminds us that life and death are partners, two sides of the same natural rhythm. It's a gentle reminder that everything has its time, and even endings can hold the promise of something beautiful ahead. Hope for what comes next. Have you ever looked at a bare tree in winter and wondered if it truly dies, or just sleeps? This question, about what comes after an ending, is something humans have thought about for a very long time. It touches a deep part of us, this hope for what comes next. Many old belief systems, especially those we call pagan, saw life not as a straight line, but as a giant, beautiful circle. Think of the seasons. Winter comes, and it seems like everything stops. The leaves fall, the flowers wilt, and the world goes quiet. But here's the thing, spring always follows. New green shoots appear, buds swell on branches. The world awakens again, full of life. It's not an ending, but a pause, a transformation. This idea, that life cycles and renews, was central to how ancient people understood everything, including what happens when we die. They often believed that energy doesn't just vanish, it changes form, like water that evaporates into the sky, forms clouds, and then falls as rain to feed the earth again. The water is still there, it just takes a different shape. This might sound simple, but it's a powerful way to think about hope. It's not always about reaching a specific place, like a heaven or a hell. Instead, it's a feeling of trust in the natural rhythm of the universe. It's a quiet understanding that we are part of something much bigger. Our individual journeys are like single leaves on that great tree. They fall, they return to the earth, and they help nourish new growth. So, our hope can be for a continuous becoming, a quiet trust in the endless dance of life, death, and rebirth. It's about finding peace in the ongoing flow. Dreams as secret messages. Have you ever woken up from a dream feeling like it held a secret, a quiet whisper just for you? For thousands of years, people felt this way. They believed dreams weren't just random pictures in our minds as we slept. Instead, they saw them as special messages. The ancient Egyptians, for example, carefully wrote down their dreams. They hoped to decode what the future held, or what the gods wanted to tell them. The ancient Greeks and Romans even built special sleep temples. People went there hoping to receive healing visions or guidance. This idea wasn't strange to them. It was natural. They saw the dream world as a bridge, a place where hidden truths could be shared. It was a way for their deepest selves, or even spirits, to communicate without the noise of the day. Think of your dreams like a very personal letter, written in symbols instead of words. Your brain, while you're resting, is still working. It sorts through all the feelings and events of your day. Sometimes, it connects things you didn't even realize were linked. It's like your mind sending you a message from its quiet, unseen corners, just as a scientist uses a microscope to see tiny, hidden details. Your dreams can show you things about yourself or your world that are usually too small to notice when you're awake. So, the next time you remember a vivid dream, just pause. Don't rush past it. Maybe it's not just weird images. Perhaps it's your own inner wisdom, or something even older, speaking to you. It's a soft invitation to listen to that quiet, knowing voice inside. It reminds us there are many ways to receive guidance, even from within ourselves. Symbols all around us. Have you ever really looked at the world around you, not just seeing things, but feeling what they mean? It's a quiet wonder, but our world is full of whispers, not with words, but with simple shapes and silent signs. These are symbols. Think of them as tiny, beautiful containers, each one holding immense ideas, deep feelings, and stories from a very long time ago. They are like silent messengers, reaching out from our deepest past, and from our own hearts, too. For thousands of years, long before anyone wrote books or letters, people used symbols to explain the mysteries around them. They saw patterns in nature, the perfect circle of the sun, the gentle spiral of a shell, the strong, upright lines of a tree, and these became powerful ways to talk about their most important beliefs. This was how humans first made sense of the big, beautiful, and sometimes scary world. These ancient marks weren't just simple drawings. They connected people to something vast and unknown, something bigger than their daily lives, like courage, love, or the endless cycle of life and death. Here's the thing. Think about a simple drawing, like a spiral. We see them in seashells, in the way water drains, even in the colossal swirl of galaxies far, far away. It feels ancient, doesn't it? A spiral isn't just a squiggly line. It quietly suggests growth, journey, and the never-ending flow of time. It connects us to something vast and old, a quiet rhythm that's always been here, long before we were. That's the enduring power of a symbol. It speaks across time and silence. And here's the beautiful part. Many of these very old symbols, born from ancient hearts trying to understand the universe, still echo today. They are quietly woven into the art we see, the stories we tell, and yes, even the faiths we follow. They remind us that even though thousands of years separate us from those who first shaped these marks, we are all still reaching for meaning, still trying to grasp the same big ideas. These silent marks connect us, showing that our human journey, full of wonder and questions, has always been happening, unfolding across countless generations. The color green, life's promise. Have you ever stopped to really look at the color green? Not just glance, but truly let your eyes soak it in the soft green of new leaves in spring, or the deep, dark green of an ancient forest. What does that color whisper to you? For many, it's a quiet hum of life, a feeling of hope that rises from the earth itself. Think about it. Green is everywhere in the natural world. It's the color of grass after a long winter, the first tiny sprout pushing through the soil, the lush leaves of a healthy tree. For people long ago, and even now, green stood for growth, new beginnings, and the never-ending cycle of life. They saw it as a powerful, almost magical color, because it meant the world was alive and thriving. Many old traditions, sometimes called pagan, held green as sacred. They knew that without green plants, there would be no food, no air to breathe. It was the color of fertility, of prosperity, of all good things that grow. This idea didn't just disappear. If you look closely, you'll still see green showing up in modern religious symbols or stories, often standing for paradise, a place of rest, or new life. It's there in the idea of a garden, a place of peace and creation. Here's how it works. Imagine your favorite houseplant. When its leaves are bright green and reaching for the sun, you know it's healthy, full of life. But if they start to turn brown or yellow, you know something is wrong. That feeling you get, the calm, steady sense of life, when you see healthy greenies, a very old feeling. It connects us to the earth and its rhythm. So, when we see green, it's like the earth is offering us a gentle promise. It's a reminder that even after tough times, life finds a way to renew itself. It keeps growing. It reminds us of a quiet strength, a gentle power that is always there, waiting to unfurl, just like a tiny green shoot in the spring. The color blue, sky's serenity. Think about the color blue. What does it make you feel? It's the color of our sky and the deep, wide ocean. It feels calm, doesn't it? Like looking out at a peaceful day. But have you ever wondered why blue has such a special place, not just in our feelings, but in old stories and beliefs, too? For a long, long time, people saw the sky as a kind of window to something bigger than us. The vast, endless blue felt like a connection to something heavenly and pure. Ancient cultures, long before modern religions as we know them, often linked blue to gods of the sky, to truth, and to wisdom. It was seen as protective, too, maybe because the sky watches over everything. It wasn't just a color, it was a feeling, a symbol of endlessness and peace. Here's an example. Think about a time you felt really stressed, maybe before a big test. What if you just stopped for a moment and looked out a window, up at the clear blue sky, or pictured a calm, still lake? That blue can actually help your mind slow down. Scientists say seeing blue can make your body feel more relaxed. It can lower your heart rate a little. It's like your brain remembers the peacefulness of nature, even when you're just looking at a blue drawing dot. So, when we see blue in places like stained glass windows in old churches, or in the art of different faiths, it's not just a pretty color. Here's the thing, it carries with it echoes of those ancient feelings. It brings a sense of the vast, the sacred, the truthful. It connects us to that deep, quiet feeling of looking up at the endless sky, finding peace and a kind of ancient wisdom reflected there. It's a reminder that even in our busy world, some feelings are timeless, like the quiet strength of the sky. Red's fire, passion's spark. Have you ever felt a deep, warm hum inside you, like a quiet spark that suddenly grows? Maybe it happens when you're really excited about something, like starting a new art project, learning a cool guitar riff, or getting ready for a big game. That feeling, that energy, is a lot like the Red's fire we're talking about. It's the passion, the drive, the pure living energy that moves us, waking us up from within. For a long, long time, people have understood that fire isn't just about burning wood, it's about life itself. Think about it. Ancient cultures, long before big modern religions, saw fire as truly sacred. It warmed their homes, cooked their food, and kept dangers away in the dark, making survival possible. But it was also much more than that. It symbolized the spark of creation, the force that makes things grow and change, a constant force of transformation. They believed this fiery energy was everywhere, in the warmth of the sun, in the powerful flash of lightning, and deep inside human beings. It was seen as the very spirit that pushed us forward, allowed us to create beautiful things, and even to heal from setbacks. So, when you feel that burst of excitement or the strong urge to learn something new, that's your own inner fire, blazing quietly. It's like the engine in a car that makes it go from still to moving, or the quick, bright flash when you first get a brilliant idea for a story or a solution to a problem. That feeling of wanting to do something, to make a difference in your world, or to explore new possibilities, that's the ancient spark, alive and strong within you. It's pretty amazing to think that the same kind of powerful, life-giving energy that people honored thousands of years ago is still alive inside each one of us today. Recognizing this inner spark, this red fire of passion, can truly help us understand what deeply drives us. It reminds us that we carry a bit of that ancient, wild, creative spirit everywhere we go, subtly guiding our choices and lighting up our unique path. It's a quiet power, always there, deep inside, waiting to be noticed and honored. White for purity. New starts. Have you ever noticed how a fresh sheet of paper feels different? It's empty, just waiting for your ideas. Or think about the first snow of winter. It covers everything, making the world look clean and new. It's like a giant reset button. This feeling, this idea of white for purity and new beginnings, is very old. It shows up in so many parts of our lives, even in how we practice religion, but its roots go way, way back. Long ago, before big churches, people watched the world closely. They saw dawn's bright light chase away the night, making everything feel fresh and clean. They saw snow cover the ground, a clean, quiet blanket. For them, white wasn't just a color. It was a feeling of cleansing, of innocence, a chance to start over. It was about letting go of mistakes and getting ready for what's next. Think of a seed bursting forth into new, bright life. Purity isn't about being perfect. It's about being ready for growth, like a blank canvas dot. This idea of white being for purity, or for a fresh start, is really strong. It's like when you wipe a messy whiteboard clean. All the old scribbles are gone. Now you have space for new thoughts. Or imagine taking a shower after a long, dusty day. You feel truly clean, ready to relax. It's not just about getting rid of dirt. It's also about a mental and emotional cleansing dot. So, when you see white in big moments, like a wedding dress, or a baptismal gown, or even the frosting on a birthday cake, remember, it's more than just a color. It's a whisper from ancient times, a quiet hope. It's the simple, universal wish for a clean slate, a chance to begin again. It's about believing in the power of a new day. Black for mystery. Deep thoughts. Have you ever just stopped and truly looked at the color black? Not just as an absence, but as something that holds everything. It's the color of the deep night sky, the hidden parts of a forest, and sometimes, the quietest parts of our own thoughts. This color, black, often stands for mystery. It's about what's hidden, what we can't see clearly yet. And in a way, it's like how some very old, deep ideas, what we call pagan principles, are often tucked away, out of sight, within modern religions. They're not always obvious, but they're there, like shadows that hold secrets. Think back a long time ago. For many ancient people, black wasn't just scary. It was the color of the rich earth that gives life to seeds in the dark. It was the vast quiet of the universe before all the stars lit up. It was the start of everything, a powerful void where creation began. So, black could mean a source of deep power, a place where new things are born from the unknown. Here's the thing. Think about your own mind. You have thoughts you share, things you talk about every day. But then there are those deeper thoughts, the ones you keep tucked away, maybe even feelings you don't fully understand yet. These are like the black parts of your mind. They aren't bad or empty. In fact, they're often where your true dreams and deepest feelings live, waiting for you to quietly explore them. It's like a secret garden inside you, peaceful and quiet, where the most important discoveries about yourself can happen. Just like those quiet parts of your mind, some ancient spiritual ideas aren't gone from the world. They're just hidden, not talked about loudly. They exist in the black spaces, the quiet corners, of what many people believe and practice today. They are waiting to be found and reflected upon. So, the idea of black for mystery isn't about darkness or fear. It's about curiosity. It invites us to look beyond what's easy to see, to wonder about what lies beneath. It reminds us that, often, the most profound wisdom, like a seed growing in the dark earth, or a hidden thought in your mind, can be found in the quiet, mysterious places. It's about trusting the unknown and finding meaning there. Numbers with special meanings. Have you ever stopped to think about numbers, not just for counting, but for what they feel like? It's kind of strange, but across time, certain numbers have held a deep magic, almost a secret language. People, long ago, just like us, looked at the world and saw patterns. They felt that numbers weren't just tools. They were keys to understanding the universe, or maybe even messages from something bigger than themselves. This isn't just about math class. This is about stories, and ancient wisdom, and how humans have always tried to make sense of everything around them. So, here's the thing. Think about the number 3. It pops up everywhere, doesn't it? Morning, noon, and night. A story often has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Even in science, we talk about solid, liquid, and gas. For many ancient cultures, 3 wasn't just a quantity. It was a powerful idea. It represented completeness, balance, and a kind of harmony. It was like seeing the flow of life, from where things start, through their journey, to how they finish. This idea was woven into their myths, their art, and even their understanding of the gods. It became a way to describe things that felt whole, an important dot. It's a bit like how we see the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. You can mix them to make almost any other color, right? They're fundamental. In a way, these special numbers acted like those primary colors for ancient minds. They were the basic building blocks of meaning, carrying a weight that went far beyond simply counting 1, 2, 3. They made sense of a complex world. And that's why it matters. Even now, without realizing it, we carry some of these old, silent meanings with us. We still find comfort or significance in these ancient patterns, a quiet echo of a time when the world felt full of hidden messages. It reminds us that maybe, just maybe, there's more to numbers than we usually see. 3's power, old and new. Have you ever noticed how often the number 3 shows up in important ways? It's not just a number on a page. Think about it. 3 wishes, 3 little pigs, on the count of 3. There's something ancient and deep about it, almost like a secret code woven into the world around us. For a long time, people have felt this special pull towards the number 3. In many old traditions, gods and goddesses were seen in 3 forms, like a young person, a parent, and an elder. These forms showed how life moves in cycles, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Even today, in many modern faiths, you find this idea of 3. Think of the idea of past, present, and future, or mind, body, and spirit. It's like the universe itself is built on this pattern. Here's why it matters. The number 3 often brings a sense of balance and strength. Imagine trying to sit on a one-legged stool. It'd tip over, right? A 2-legged stool would still be wobbly, but a 3-legged stool stands firm and steady. It's complete. This idea of 3 supporting something, making it whole and stable, runs through everything, from the 3 basic colors that make up every other color, to the 3 acts in a good story setup, problem, and solution. It creates a complete picture. So, when we see 3 appearing, whether in ancient stories or in the everyday things we use, it's a quiet reminder. It reminds us that balance matters, that things often come in stages, and that there's a comforting rhythm to life, a kind of completeness and strength found in these simple, recurring patterns. It's a gentle whisper from the past, still echoing in our world. 7's luck. Ancient lore. Have you ever wondered why the number 7 feels so special? Why do we say 7 years of bad luck, or talk about 7th heaven? This isn't just a random idea. This number holds a quiet, old power, woven into human stories long before modern religions began. We have 7 days in a week. There are 7 colors in a rainbow. Long ago, people looked at the night sky and saw 7 wandering stars, what we now call planets. For them, 7 was a guide to the universe's mysteries. Old traditions, like pagan ones, saw nature's cycles. In 7s, it meant completeness and balance. Here's the thing. This feeling about 7 carried over. Major religions picked it up. The world was said to be created in 7 days. 7 deadly sins or virtues appear in stories. This shows how deeply the number stuck in our minds, from ancient times to modern ideas of luck. Think of your favorite playlist. Maybe you have 7 songs you always go back to, your lucky 7, or it's 7 players on a team, working well together. Our brains naturally seek these complete patterns. We find comfort. So, when we talk about 7's luck, it's not about magic spells. It's about how humans, for thousands of years, have made sense of the world. It's a quiet echo of our ancestors seeking order in the cosmos. It reminds us that, deep down, we are still connected to those ancient feelings, always seeking harmony and completeness in the patterns around us. Sacred geometry, hidden patterns. Have you ever looked closely at a seashell or a sunflower and noticed the perfect swirl of its patterns, or seen how a snowflake seems almost too perfect to be real? It's like there's a secret language written into the world, a hidden set of blueprints. This idea is called sacred geometry. It's the belief that certain shapes, like circles, squares, and spirals, aren't just random. They show up again and again in nature, in art, and even in how the universe seems to be put together. For thousands of years, people from all over the world, in ancient Egypt, Greece, and even early Christian traditions, saw these patterns as special. They thought these shapes held clues about how the universe was created. People believed these geometric forms were like God's own drawing board, showing a divine order, a perfect way things should be. Think about the Fibonacci sequence. It's a series of numbers where each number is the sum of the two before it. 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and so on. Now, here's what's cool. This pattern shows up in nature everywhere. The spirals on a pinnacone, the way seeds are arranged in a sunflower, even the branching of trees. If you divide one number by the one before it, you get close to a special number called phi, or the golden ratio. Artists and architects have used this for centuries to create things that just feel right, like the Parthenon in Greece, or even some modern logos. So, when you see these perfect patterns pop up in old church windows, or in the designs of a mosque, or even in the Star of David, it's not by accident. People were connecting to that ancient understanding. They were trying to capture a piece of that divine order, that feeling of perfect balance, in their sacred spaces. It suggests that there's a deeper, hidden beauty woven into everything, a quiet whisper of ancient wisdom. It reminds us that maybe the most profound truths aren't shouted, but instead, they're gently revealed in the simple, perfect shapes all around us. The labyrinth's winding path. Have you ever felt like some old story, or an old tradition, just keeps showing up in new ways? Imagine a labyrinth, not a maze where you get lost, but a path that twists and turns, always leading to the center. Our beliefs, the ones we hold today, sometimes feel like that. They might seem new, but deep down, their path wends through very ancient lands. Many parts of modern religions, for example, quietly follow turns taken thousands of years ago by what we now call pagan beliefs. It's not about right or wrong, just about how things grow and change. For a long time, as new beliefs spread, they didn't always erase the old ones completely. Instead, they often absorbed them. Think about a giant river. It doesn't just appear from nowhere. It's made up of countless smaller streams, tiny trickles from long ago, all flowing together. Many holidays we celebrate, like certain winter or spring festivals, have roots in much older traditions that honored the seasons, the sun, or the earth's cycles. The names might be different, the stories might have changed, but the deep human need to mark these moments, that feeling, still travels along that very old path. It's kind of like how your brain remembers old things. Even if you learn something new, the older memory is still there, maybe just hidden a bit, influencing how you see the new stuff. Or, consider a language. English has words from Latin, French, Old Norse. We don't speak Latin, but its echoes are everywhere in our sentences, shaping what we say. It's the same with ideas. Old ways of thinking about the world didn't vanish, they just put on new clothes. So, when we look closely, we start to see these hidden paths. It helps us understand that human connection to the mysteries of life isn't new, it's an endless story, unfolding through time. Seeing the labyrinth's winding path makes the world feel bigger, older, and strangely connected. One winding turn leading to the next, through history and within ourselves. Statues and their old stories. Have you ever walked into a quiet building, maybe a church or a temple, and seen a statue looking back at you? There's a feeling there, isn't there? A sense of something old, something deep. It's more than just a piece of carved stone or painted wood. These figures hold stories, whispers from long ago. For thousands of years, people have made statues, not just because they were good artists, but because they wanted to feel closer to what they believed. Imagine people long ago, before cities or written books. They looked at the sky, the trees, the rivers, and saw powerful forces everywhere. They carved figures from wood or stone, trying to give those forces a shape. It was a way to feel connected, a way to remember their gods, their ancestors, their sacred ideas. These statues became like windows, letting them look into another world. Over time, the names changed, the story shifted, but the idea of these figures stayed. We still see them in churches, in temples, even in public parks. They might be saints, or angels, or important leaders. But here's the thing, they echo those very old, very first carvings. They tell us that the human need to see and touch what we believe in, to give it form, hasn't really changed. Think about looking at a favorite photograph of someone you love. It's just paper and ink, right? But it holds so much more. It holds a memory, a person you care about, a special moment. It helps you feel connected to them, even when they're not there. Statues work in a similar way for big ideas. So, when you see a statue, pause for a moment, feel its quiet presence. It's a reminder that some feelings never fade. The wish to connect with something bigger, to remember sacred stories, is a part of being human. It links us to ancient whispers, showing us that even now, we carry echoes of those old, deep beliefs within us, like ancient patterns carved into the very air we breathe. Offerings of love and thanks. Have you ever thought about why we give gifts? Not just on birthdays, but like, when you feel truly thankful for something. Maybe someone helps you out, or you see something beautiful, and you just want to give something back. This feeling, this urge to show gratitude, is at the heart of what ancient people called offerings. Here's the thing. An offering wasn't always about burning incense or sacrificing animals. Often, it was simply an act of profound thanks and a way to connect. Imagine ancient communities living close to the earth. They relied on the rain for crops, on the sun for warmth, on the forests for wood. They understood that life was a gift, given by forces much larger than themselves. So, they would offer things back, a portion of their harvest, a song, a quiet moment of reflection, not to buy favor, but to show respect and gratitude for the continuous cycle of life. It was a way of saying, we see you, we appreciate you, and we are part of this grand dance. Think about it in your own life. When a friend helps you with a really tough homework assignment, what happens? You feel a rush of thanks. You might offer to help them with their next big project, or just share your favorite snack. It's not a payment, it's an emotional exchange. You're giving back a little bit of your own good energy. It's a small, personal offering of thanks. This is what it means to acknowledge a connection, to give back a piece of yourself, simply because you are thankful. So, next time you feel a deep sense of gratitude, whether it's for a beautiful day, a kind word, or a helping hand, remember that feeling. When you respond to it with kindness, a thank you, or a shared smile, you are tapping into a very old, very human way of being. You are making an offering of love and thanks. It's a simple way to feel more connected to the world and to the people in it, making everything feel a little more valuable and connected. The idea of sacred animals. Have you ever looked at an animal, an eagle soaring, a quiet elephant, and felt something ancient, something wise? For many cultures, long before modern religions took shape, certain animals weren't just living beings, they were seen as sacred. This idea means seeing animals as more than just creatures. It's believing they hold special powers, carry messages, or even represent gods. A bear might represent strength, a snake healing, a bird messages. People didn't just admire them, they respected them deeply, seeing a connection to the world's spirit. The ancient Egyptians, for instance, revered cats, seeing them as symbols of protection, even gods. Many Native American traditions saw animals as teachers or spirit guides, each with unique lessons. Here's the thing, it wasn't just liking an animal, it was seeing a reflection of the divine, a powerful force of nature, in them. Think about a beloved family pet. You don't just see a dog or cat, you see a loyal friend, a source of comfort, someone who understands you. You treat them with special care, right? That deep connection, that unique spirit, echoes how ancient people felt about sacred animals. It's about respect, seeing a deeper life force. When we truly look at animals, we can still find a piece of that ancient wisdom. We can notice the quiet patience of a deer, the fierce protectiveness of a mother bird, or the joy of a dolphin playing. And that's why it matters. It reminds us that all life holds its own quiet beauty and sacredness. It invites us to connect with the living world deeply, seeing wonder everywhere. Our connection to the cosmos. Have you ever looked up at the night sky, really looked, and felt incredibly small but also part of something enormous? It's a strange feeling, like you're just a tiny dot, yet woven into the fabric of everything. This feeling, this deep sense of belonging to the stars and the turning world, is something humans have carried for ages. Think about our ancestors. Long before big cities and electric lights, their lives were guided by the sun's warmth, the moon's gentle glow, and the steady march of seasons. They saw patterns in the stars, not just random dots, but stories and maps. The rising and setting sun, the moon's phases, the yearly journey from spring to winter. These weren't just weather facts. They were spiritual guides, shaping when to plant or harvest, when to celebrate. Many ancient beliefs, often called pagan, came from this close relationship with nature and the cosmos. They felt the earth breathing and the stars watching. Here's the thing, even today, we carry echoes of this connection. Think about how you feel on a sunny day versus a cloudy, rainy one. Doesn't the sun lift your spirits? Or consider how your body naturally wants to sleep when it's dark and wake when it's light. Our internal clocks, our moods, even our energy levels are still connected to the rhythms of earth and sky. Even if we don't always see it, we still celebrate holidays tied to seasons, like the winter solstice or spring equinox, often not knowing their ancient roots. So, when we look at the stars, or feel the sun on our face, it's more than just light and heat. It's a quiet reminder that we are part of an ancient, ongoing dance. We are connected, not just to each other, but to the very universe itself. It's a wonderful, humbling thought, isn't it, that we are made of stardust, and the stardust is still guiding us. Stars guiding our way. Have you ever gazed up at the night sky, far from city lights, and just felt lost in its quiet vastness? Maybe you saw thousands of tiny lights, sparkling like scattered diamonds. It's a feeling of wonder, isn't it? But what if those stars weren't just distant suns? What if they were maps and guides for living? For thousands of years, long before GPS or even paper maps, people looked to the stars for guidance, not just to find their way home across a desert or ocean, but to understand their very lives. Ancient cultures, from the Egyptians to the Celts, saw more than just bright dots. They saw stories, they saw patterns, they named groups of stars, creating shapes like bears and hunters and water bearers. These constellations became cosmic calendars, telling them when to plant crops, when to travel, and when the seasons would change. Here's the thing, these starry patterns weren't just practical tools, they became part of people's beliefs, their deepest ideas about the world. They felt the stars were watching over them, offering clues about destiny and purpose. It was a way of making sense of the unknown, of finding comfort in the huge, dark universe. Think about how you use a compass app on your phone today. It points you north, right? But imagine that compass also gave you a feeling of belonging, a sense of direction for your feelings, not just your steps. The stars did that. They helped people feel connected to something larger than themselves, something ancient and powerful. So, when we look at the Big Dipper or Orion, even now, we're tapping into a very old human instinct. It's about more than just science. It's about that quiet search for meaning, for understanding where we fit in. The stars remind us that even when things feel confusing, there's a timeless pattern, a kind of gentle whisper, guiding us toward our own path, across the land and through our lives. It's a reflection of our deep need to know we're going somewhere, that we belong. The sun, our life-giver. Have you ever really thought about the sun? Not just as a bright ball in the sky, but as something truly alive, constantly giving. It hangs there, every single day, pouring down light and warmth. Without it, our world would be a frozen, dark place. No plants could grow, no animals could live. The sun is like the steady, quiet heartbeat of our planet, giving energy to everything. For thousands of years, people looked up and understood this deep truth. They didn't have science books to explain photosynthesis, but they saw their crops wither without sun, and their world go dark at night. So, they honored the sun. They built temples, told stories, and created rituals around it. They called it Ra, or Apollo, or Helios. Names for a god, yes, but really, names for life itself. They weren't just praying to a star, they were celebrating the source of everything they had. Think about it like this. Every bite of food you eat, every breath of fresh air you take, it all connects back to the sun. The tiny green leaves of a plant capture the sun's light and turn it into food. Then a rabbit eats the plant, or a cow eats the grass, and then we eat the rabbit or the cow. It's like a giant invisible chain, and the first link, the most important one, is always the sun. Even when you feel happy on a sunny day after many grey ones, that's the sun doing its magic. So, the next time you feel the sun on your face, pause for a moment, feel its warmth, its energy. It's more than just light. It's a silent, ancient promise, a reminder of how deeply connected we are to the world and to that incredible, life-giving star. It asks for nothing, but gives everything. The moon, our nightlight. Have you ever stopped to really look at the moon? Not just glance, but truly let your eyes trace its soft glow. It's always there, a quiet, watchful eye, even when clouds hide it. For as long as humans have gazed upwards, the moon has been more than just a big rock orbiting Earth. It was, and still is for many, a kind of nightlight for our souls. Think about how different the night feels when the moon is bright versus completely dark. The moon offers a gentle reassurance, a faint pathway through the shadows. Long ago, before streetlights, the moon was crucial. It wasn't just light, it was life. People used its phases to track time, to know when to plant or harvest. Even when to celebrate, it felt alive, guiding them, connected to the rhythm of their lives and the ocean's tides. They saw it as a powerful goddess, a comforting mother, a source of quiet wisdom. This connection isn't just old history. Here's the thing, we still feel its pull, even if we don't always name it. You know how sometimes you feel more energized during a full moon, or a little more reflective when the sky is dark? That's not just your imagination. The moon quietly influences things, just like a steady beat in a song you might not consciously notice, but which still moves your feet. It's like how a trusted friend might not say much, but their quiet presence makes you feel safer, less alone. So when we look up at the moon, we might see more than just reflected sunlight. We might catch a glimpse of an ancient understanding, a deep truth. It reminds us that even in the darkest nights, a gentle light and subtle rhythm guide us, and that's why it matters. The moon teaches us about steady presence, cycles, and finding peace. It's a soft whisper, reminding us to simply be. The ocean's deep secrets. Have you ever stood by the ocean, watching the waves roll in? There's a quiet mystery there, isn't there? It feels ancient, holding secrets we can't quite grasp. Just like the ocean hides cities and creatures deep below its surface, many old beliefs are hidden within our modern world. We might not see them right away, but they shape things more than we know. These are like ancient currents, moving beneath the surface of our everyday lives. For thousands of years, people looked at the ocean with a sense of wonder and awe. They saw it as alive, a powerful force that gave life and took it away. Think about ancient cultures and their gods of the sea, Poseidon or Enjare. These weren't just stories, they were ways people tried to understand the immense power of the water, its deep, often scary, beauty. Even today, many people feel a deep calm or a powerful respect when near the ocean. That feeling, it's an echo of those old ways of seeing the world. It's a part of us that remembers the ocean as something truly sacred. Imagine your favorite new song. It sounds fresh, right? But sometimes, a musician uses an old melody, a hidden beat from a much older tune, and weaves it into their new song. You might not even notice the old part, but it gives the new song its depth, its soul. Modern religions are a bit like that new song. They have new words and new rhythms, but often, deep down, they carry melodies from very old beliefs about the world, about nature, about life and death. The pagan principles are those old melodies. They're still there, quietly, powerfully. So, the next time you feel drawn to the vastness of the sea, or find peace listening to the rain, remember that quiet pull. It's not just a feeling, it's a connection to something ancient and shared. It's a whisper from deep within the human story, reminding us that even the newest ideas have very old, very strong roots, hidden like treasures in the ocean's deep. Mountains, standing tall. Have you ever stood at the foot of a truly huge mountain, or maybe even climbed partway up one? There's a quiet power there, isn't there? A feeling of something ancient and immense, just watching. For a very long time, people have felt this way about mountains. They aren't just big pieces of rock. They've always felt like places where the earth touches the sky, where something sacred and powerful might live. It's like the land itself is reaching up, connecting us to something beyond. Think about how many old stories talk about gods living on mountains, or important events happening there. From mythical Mount Olympus to Mount Sinai, these towering places were seen as closer to the heavens, closer to the divine. People believed if you wanted to talk to spirits, or feel truly connected to life's biggest mysteries, you went high up. They built temples and altars on peaks, not just for the view, but because it felt like a direct line to something far grander. This feeling shows up again and again, all over the world, a deep, shared human understanding. Think about how we feel today when we seek out high places. Maybe you climb to the highest point in a park to watch the sunset, or stand on a tall building looking over city lights. Even then, there's often a sense of peace, a feeling that your own worries become small when you see how vast the world is. That moment, that powerful sense of perspective, it's a quiet echo of what people have always felt about mountains. We still go to quiet, elevated places when we need to think, when we need to feel closer to something calm and wise inside. So, while we might not build religious temples on every peak now, that deep human need to look up, to connect with something vast and enduring, is still very much a part of us. It reminds us that some feelings, some ways of seeing the world, are truly timeless, and that connection to the grand, silent strength of a mountain, that deep sense of awe and spiritual reaching, it's a very ancient principle, still standing tall within us, even in modern times. Rivers flowing on. Have you ever really watched a river? It moves all the time, water always new, but it's still the same river, isn't it? It has the same name, flows through the same lands, even if the water itself changes. This idea helps us see something cool about how beliefs work. Think about it. Many old ways of seeing the world, sometimes called pagan, didn't just vanish. They didn't suddenly disappear. Instead, they flowed on, like water downstream. They mixed with new ideas, changed shape, and sometimes even got new names. But the spirit, the deep connection to nature or certain thoughts, often stayed. For ages, people lived close to the earth. They watched the sun, seasons, and moon. These natural rhythms were sacred. Their stories and holidays grew from these. When new religions came, they often didn't erase these old patterns. They adapted them. It's like rivers merging. The new one holds water from both. So, celebrating light in winter or new life in spring might have very old roots, even if we explain them differently today. Here's an example. Think how stories get told and retold. Like playing telephone, the message shifts, but the main idea usually makes it through. Or a family recipe passed down. Cooks add twists, a different ingredient, but it's still that recipe, holding its original taste. So, looking at our modern world, we can still find hints of these very old streams of thought. They remind us we are part of a long story, linked to people from thousands of years ago. It's a calm thought, knowing wisdom and wonder have been passed down, like a continuous river, waiting for us to notice its gentle flow. The wind's gentle breath. Have you ever felt the wind? Even when you couldn't see it, you know it's there. It rustles the leaves, chills your skin, or whispers through tall grass. But what is it? For many ancient people, the wind wasn't just moving air. It was breath, a powerful, invisible spirit, a connection to something much bigger than themselves. Think about it. Before science could explain air currents, feeling that unseen force might have felt like the touch of a god, or the whisper of an ancestor. Many old beliefs saw the whole natural world as alive, filled with spirits. Rivers had spirits, trees had spirits, and the wind, especially, was seen as a divine breath, moving through everything. This idea, where nature itself is sacred and alive with invisible forces, is called animism. It was a core part of many pagan traditions. So, how does this connect to today? Well, even in modern religions, we talk about spirit, right? Like the Holy Spirit in Christianity, or the concept of breath prana, chi, in Eastern practices, which is unseen but gives life and energy. It's that feeling of something grand and unseen moving through the world, touching us, inspiring us. It's like when you listen to your favorite song, you can't see the sound waves, but you feel the music deeply. It can change your mood, make you want to dance, or bring tears to your eyes. That invisible force has a real effect. In a quiet moment, when a breeze touches your face, maybe you can feel a hint of that ancient connection. It's not about what you call it, but about the feeling itself, the way something unseen can still move through us, connect us, and make us feel part of something vast and timeless. It's a reminder that the world holds mysteries that we feel more than we see, just like our ancestors did. Flowers blooming. Old wisdom. Have you ever walked through an old garden, where wildflowers grow untamed and beautiful? It feels ancient, right? Like something deep in the earth is still alive. Our modern world is a lot like that garden. Even with new ideas, hidden blooms of old wisdom quietly grow among us. For a long time, before big religions, people lived closely with the earth. They watched the sun, moon, and seasons turn. They felt storms and the quiet comfort of trees. Their beliefs, often called pagan traditions, grew from this deep connection to nature. They honored life's cycles, the turning year. But here's what happened. As time moved, and new ways of thinking came, these old ways didn't just vanish. They were like seeds carried on the wind, landing in new soil. They blended, they softened, they became part of something new. Think about how we still feel connected to the seasons. The feeling of new starts in spring, or the quiet reflection of winter's end. These aren't just dates, they're echoes of ancient human experiences. For example, why do we feel drawn outside when leaves change, or light candles when days get short? It's like our bodies remember. This connects us to people who felt the same way thousands of years ago, part of our shared human story. We celebrate new beginnings in spring, like Easter, which draws from ancient spring festivals of rebirth, or winter holidays use evergreens and lights, just like old solstice celebrations did to honor enduring life. This can help you see that wisdom from long ago isn't lost. It just keeps transforming. It shows up in feelings, in traditions, even in how we understand ourselves. It's a quiet reminder that some truths about life, about growth, and about our place in the world are always blooming if we just look closely enough. The bee's busy path. Have you ever stopped to really listen to a bee? That soft, steady hum isn't just a sound. It's like a tiny song of purpose. Each bee, small as it is, moves with a clear mission. It flies from flower to flower, collecting nectar and pollen, doing its part for the hive. And without even knowing it, that bee is also pollinating, helping new plants grow and bringing life to the world. Think about that. This idea that every small action has a bigger impact is actually a very old wisdom. Long before big religions, people looked at nature, at things like the bee, and saw lessons. They understood how the world worked in cycles, like seasons or a plant's life. They saw how everything connected, like threads in a giant, beautiful tapestry. For them, the bee wasn't just an insect. It was a teacher. It showed how hard work, community, and a simple buzz helped keep the whole world healthy and alive. They deeply respected this natural order. Here's the thing. We see echoes of this idea everywhere, even today. Think about a science project your class does. Each person might have a small job. One researches, one designs, one writes. No single job feels huge, but when everyone does their part, the whole project comes together and turns into something amazing. It's like each of you is a busy bee, contributing to the hive of your classroom, and that's why it matters. The bee's path reminds us that even our smallest choices and actions create ripples. Whether it's doing your homework, helping a friend, or just appreciating the world around you, your effort adds to something much larger. It's a quiet wisdom, humming just beneath the surface of everyday life, that our individual paths, when followed with purpose, help weave the story of the world. It reminds us we are all connected, just like the bees and the flowers they visit. Spiders weaving fate. Have you ever looked at a spider's web, especially when dewdrops sparkle on it in the morning light? It seems so delicate, yet it's strong enough to catch. Imagine, for a moment, that our lives are woven in a similar way, not just by us, but by countless invisible threads connecting everything. This idea, that fate is spun like a vast, complex web, comes from very old beliefs found in cultures around the world. Long ago, people saw certain goddesses or spirits as the weavers of destiny. Think about the fates in ancient Greek stories. They were three sisters. One spun the thread of your life, another measured its length, and the third cut it short. In Norse myths, there were the Norns, who tended the roots of the world tree, Yggdrasil, and wove the destiny of gods and humans alike. It wasn't about a single, strict line you had to follow. Instead, it was like a huge, intricate tapestry being created. Every choice, every event, every tiny thing connects to something else, forming the unique patterns of what is to come. Here's how it works in a way we can see. Imagine you decide to spend an extra hour practicing your jump shot for basketball. That small choice creates a tiny thread. Maybe you get better, feel more confident, and try out for the team. That's another thread. What if your friend, seeing your dedication, also decides to practice more? Now your thread is connecting to theirs, making a wider pattern. Or maybe because you were at practice, you missed another event, and that, too, creates a new path. It's not about magic setting your whole life. It's about how every little action, every decision, every chance meeting are like individual strands. They cross and intertwine, making up the bigger picture of your day. your week, your life. So as you move through your own day, remember that you're always adding to this grand web. Your thoughts, your kindness, even your challenges, are like the small, careful movements of a spider. They contribute to the intricate design of your future and the world around you. We are all weavers in this grand, unfolding story, and there's a quiet beauty in that. Birds singing mornings. Have you ever really stopped to listen to the birds sing in the early morning? Before the world gets loud, before cars start humming and screens light up. It's more than just chirping. It's a gentle greeting, a soft welcome to the new day. For people long, long ago, this wasn't just background noise. It was a powerful, sacred sound. They believed the birds were like little messengers. They sang songs of thanks for the new day and welcomed the sun. Many ancient cultures, the ones we often call pagan, deeply understood this connection. They didn't just see the sun rise, they celebrated it. And the birds' songs were the music for this celebration. It was a way to feel close to the earth, to feel part of something much bigger and older than themselves. Think about it this way. Imagine waking up not to an alarm, but to the natural concert outside your window. That feeling of quiet peace, a fresh start, a sense that the world is waking up with you. Even now, when we hear those sounds, we often feel a natural lift. It's not something we think about in terms of old religions, but it holds that same ancient magic. That simple act of noticing the morning birds is a quiet echo, an echo of how humans have always found wonder and connection in nature's simple rhythms. It reminds us that even without knowing it, we share a link with those who lived thousands of years ago. They found peace and meaning in the same gentle sounds we hear every day. It's a quiet truth hidden in plain sight. Nature connects us, past and present, in beautiful ways. The owl's quiet wisdom. Have you ever noticed how some of the most important truths aren't shouted, but instead whisper? It's like the quiet wisdom of an owl. This amazing bird flies silently through the night. It sees what others miss, not by making a fuss, but by watching, listening, and being still. That's the feeling behind this hidden principle. Many ancient traditions, long before what we call modern religions, deeply respected this quiet way of knowing. They didn't always write down long lists of rules. Instead, they looked to nature, to the turning of the seasons, and to their own inner thoughts. They learned that real understanding often comes from deep inside us, from patiently watching the world and thinking about it. It's about listening to the subtle hints, not just the loud commands. Here's how it works. Think about a time you had a big problem, maybe with a friend or a tough school project. You might have felt really stressed and tried to force a solution. But sometimes, the best thing to do is just take a breath, step away from the noise, and let your mind settle. Like an owl waiting patiently on a branch, you observe. You don't jump to conclusions. You let thoughts come and go. Suddenly, a quiet idea, a gentle feeling, or a new way of looking at things might come to you. That's a moment of quiet wisdom. This isn't about ignoring what others say. It's about finding balance. It's about knowing that some truths are only found when we slow down and listen deeply, not just with your ears. It reminds us that often, the deepest knowledge isn't found in grand speeches or big books, but in the quiet spaces between things, in moments of stillness and quiet thought. And that's why it matters. This quiet wisdom helps us see the hidden layers of the world and even of ourselves. Fox's clever tricks. Have you ever thought about how old ideas can live on, even when we think they're gone? Imagine a clever fox, but not an animal. An idea. This fox doesn't fight. It's smart. It finds a way to sneak into a new place, change its fur a little, and blend in, almost invisible. That's like how very old beliefs, sometimes called pagan ideas, found their way into modern religions. Here's the thing. When new religions spread, they often met people with their own ways of seeing the world. These old ways, like honoring the seasons or life's cycles, were deeply rooted. Instead of saying, stop all of that, which would have been hard, the new religions did something smarter. They didn't destroy old paths. They built new roads right over them. So, an ancient festival about light's return might become a new holiday, still about light, but with a different story. It's like recycling an idea. Think about how, when you write a new story, you might take an old idea from a myth or fairy tale and twist it a little. You give it new characters and setting, but the core lesson is still there, just hiding. That's a tiny bit like what happened. The old ways were not forgotten. They simply put on new clothes. This isn't about true or false, but how human culture grows and changes. Ideas are like rivers. They flow, they merge. Sometimes, a quiet part of an old stream joins a new one, bringing its unique flavor. It's a gentle reminder of how connected everything is, across time and different ways of seeing. Bears' winter sleep. Have you ever watched the world outside get quiet when winter arrives? The trees shed their leaves, the ground might freeze, and many animals seem to disappear. What happens to the mighty bear during those cold, dark months? It finds a den, settles in, and falls into a deep, long sleep. This isn't just a nap, it's a kind of pause, a complete slowdown of life. For thousands of years, people watched the bears. They saw these powerful creatures vanish into the earth. Each autumn they disappeared, only to emerge again in spring, often with new cubs. This cycle was a huge mystery. It made ancient people wonder about life, death, and renewal. It felt like the bear was dying and being reborn, like the earth itself. This observation taught them about the rhythm of the world. It showed them that even in the deepest stillness, life is still working, preparing for what comes next. Here's the thing. Think about when you've been super busy, maybe studying for a big test, or practicing hard for a game. You get tired, right? You need to rest. Sometimes, that rest feels like doing nothing, but your body and mind are actually busy rebuilding. You're processing information, recovering, and getting stronger. That quiet time, that pause, is your own small winter sleep. It's not wasted time. It's when you gather your hidden power. So, the bear's winter sleep reminds us of something really profound. It teaches us that not all growth happens when things are loud and active. Sometimes, the most important changes, the deepest preparations, happen in silence and stillness. It's a gentle whisper that even in times of quiet and apparent absence, life is preparing for a new beginning. It's a message that rest isn't just about stopping, it's about getting ready to bloom again. Wolf's loyalty, ancient bonds. Have you ever felt that strong pull, that deep connection to your friends, your family, or your team? It's like an unspoken promise to stick together, no matter what. This feeling, this fierce loyalty, is something we often see in nature, especially with wolves. A wolf pack isn't just a group of animals. It's a family, moving, hunting, and surviving as one. Their loyalty isn't just a nice idea, it's how they thrive. For ancient people, much like wolf packs, loyalty to their tribe or clan was everything. They didn't have big cities or governments. Their survival depended on everyone sticking together. If someone was sick, the tribe cared. For them, if there was danger, they faced it as one. This deep bond wasn't just practical, it was sacred. Many old beliefs, often called pagan, really honored this idea of belonging and mutual support within a community. It was about shared strength and protecting your own. Think about a school project where you work with a group. If everyone is loyal to the team and does their part, the project usually turns out great. But if one person doesn't pull their weight, the whole group struggles. It's similar in life. When we are loyal to our friends, our family, or even a cause we believe in, we create a strong circle of trust. It makes us feel safe and supported. This sense of belonging is vital for us. Even today, in many modern religions, this old echo of loyalty remains. Churches, temples, and mosques often talk about community, about being a family of believers and supporting one another. It shows us that deep down, humans still need that same ancient connection, that pack loyalty, to feel truly whole. Our strength often comes from how well we stick together, much like those loyal wolves. Seeing the divine in all things. Have you ever looked closely at a single raindrop, clinging to a leaf, and felt something truly special, something more than just water? Many ancient people, and even some modern spiritual paths, believed the divine wasn't just in grand temples or far-off heavens. They saw it right here, in everything around us. This idea, seeing the divine in all things, means understanding that a sacred energy, a piece of something holy, exists in nature, in other people, and even inside yourself. It's about recognizing that every part of life, big or small, carries a sparkle of something greater. Think about ancient cultures. The indigenous peoples of North America, for example, often spoke of Mother Earth and honored the spirits in trees, rivers, and animals. For them, every sunrise was a gift, every deer a sacred being. This wasn't just folklore, it was how they understood the world. The Stoics, an ancient Greek group of thinkers, also believed in a universal reason or logos that flowed through everything, connecting it all. Here's an example. Imagine you're drawing. You have many different colored pencils. Each pencil is unique, but they all come from the same box, the same art set. When you draw, you use all those colors together to create a beautiful picture. In a way, each part of nature, each person, is like a different color, but they all come from the same creative source, part of the same big picture. So, when we talk about seeing the divine in all things, it's not about worshipping a tree, but about feeling a deep connection to everything. It's about recognizing the wonder in a spider's web, the strength in a mountain, or the kindness in a friend's smile. Here's what I found: just pausing to truly see the world around you, knowing that a quiet, powerful beauty exists in even the smallest things. It's about feeling part of something much larger, much older, and deeply beautiful.